You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent Austen Show.
Hey, what's happening in a game in a few days here in Jacksonville? Seems like it's been forever. That's what happens when you go to London for a couple of weeks. Jags will bookend that trip, though, with a couple of home games, Indianapolis and the Packers. Jags have not been good on the road this year, but they're actually 2-1 at home now, despite that loss to Cleveland. So they fixed that from last year. If they can continue to go, they're going to have to win games like this, I think, to offset that Cleveland loss, because that was, to me now, it's looking like the worst loss they had by far.
It's wild how when we start our predictions, in the preseason, we thought Cleveland was going to be pretty competitive, obviously probably the strongest divisions, or at least we thought. Now it's looking like the NFC North is by far the strongest division, but it's wild how they've just kind of fallen off now.
Yeah, and it just looks worse and worse. I just saw a stat that Jameis Winston's going to start, right? He's going to be the 38th quarterback to start for the Cleveland Browns since 1999. I mean, it's unbelievable. And by the way, what I think about when that happens is, and I see those numbers, you could do the same thing with coaches. They've actually kept Stefanski. Now, he's going to be one of the longest tenured coaches they've had in the last 25 years now. Because what's he been there, like 4 years or something, or maybe even 5? Well, I think all you have to do is look at what Shad's done at times. What he's trying to do, in my opinion, is he's going to try to take the AFC North and he'll say, I want to be more like Pittsburgh than Cleveland. So you use those two. There's been many times over the years that Mike Tomlin's been like under the radar, under the gun a little bit, right? To say, maybe it's time to go. I mean, he's winning 9 games, great, but is it enough? And they continue to stay and stay. They've had 3 coaches in like the last 40-something years. And so I get it from Shad's perspective, as some of his loyalty or patience or whatever you would call it is actually an opportunity to be like that, more than to be like the Cleveland Browns where you're trying to jumpstart it and fix it. No continuity at all.
I mean, there's no continuity, but keep in mind, they did go to the playoffs last year and the Jaguars didn't. So
yeah, and they have 2 out of the last whatever years.
Yeah,
In the last 25, there's been just an exhibition of inconsistency.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Yeah, and obviously that stems with their quarterback. I think a team that's almost been cursed, kind of like the Jaguars have been cursed with kickers, Cleveland's been cursed with quarterbacks, it seems like, and they went all out. They thought, okay, well, if we can't draft one properly, if we can't bring a free agent free agent properly, let's go ahead and just throw the Brinks truck, back it up to Deshaun Watson's door, and hopefully we get the resurgence of a top 5 quarterback like you saw in Houston. And unfortunately, that hasn't panned out for them.
It's unbelievable, really. But again, just to go back, I mean, that loss looks so bad for the Jags because they stink, like they're awful. And you can't lose that game. Like, you can't lose that game. You can lose on the road to Houston, even though you should have won that game. You can lose on the road to Miami, even though you should have won that game. You can't lose at home to the Cleveland Browns. Like, this would be such a different situation right now, right? And it's not like they've done anything great. I thought we would say that in December anyway. At some point, we'll be like, oh, man, if the Jags had just won those 2 games to start the year, I think we could still get to that point. But I'm doing it now. Even at 2-5, I'm like, you can't lose to the Cleveland Browns. And at 3-4, you'd be like, so much more in the middle of everything than you are at 2-5 right now.
Do you think the Browns' loss is worse than the Bears' loss?
Oh, by
really?
By a million.
Really?
By a million. Yes.
Interesting.
Well, listen, I mean, here's why, Austin. There's 3 reasons.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this. All right, let's go.
Well, there's 4 reasons.
Wow, man. There's another reason.
There's 4 reasons. First of all,
here comes the
Cleveland
TED Talk.
Sucks. Like, Cleveland is not good.
Okay.
Chicago, I don't know if they're good, but they're not crappy. Like, they're not a bad team.
Yeah,
They're
but you should have been
4-2.
blown out by them.
Well, okay, I get the way it looked.
Okay.
The second thing is it was at home.
It was in the UK.
No,
I'm sorry.
Cleveland is at home.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like,
yeah.
Again, one of the emphasis of this season, one of the things to turn around last year is you didn't win at home. You didn't win in Jacksonville last year. Mm-hmm. Like, you were bad in Jacksonville. And so you come right off the rip and you lose to Cleveland. Then the other part of this, and just from a big picture standpoint, is it's an AFC versus an NFC. Like, even if the Jags were to go on some miracle run, they are not going to make the playoffs. And they're not going to make, again, just this is pie in the sky. But the reason why they wouldn't make the playoffs, even at 9-8, if they pull that out of their whatever, is because they lost to Miami, Cleveland, and who's the third game they lost to? Oh, Buffalo.
Bills.
Right off the start. They're going to lose every tiebreaker possible because of which everybody at 9-8 would be stuck in a tiebreaker, and they're going to lose every tiebreaker possible because the AFC is like one of the third ones down, and your AFC record sucks.
No, I understand. Okay, I get all of that, and I understand that obviously the AFC games are more important than NFC games. But you talk about a Bears team going into that Jaguars game, who beat who? The Titans
in Carolina,
sleeper. And when I say sleeper, I'm not like sleeper good. I'm saying I'm sleeping on them. The Carolina Panthers, hey, and the Rams without Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
How is that an impressive resume?
It's not. It's not.
So then you decide to get beat by them. You give them 35 points and only score 16. Like, I think it's comparable. Like, I understand like Cleveland is probably the worst team than the Chicago Bears, but I think losing 35-16 is almost more embarrassing.
Yeah, and it might be more embarrassing. It just might not be as big a loss. Like, it changes so much. I just felt like going to London. I had this feeling the whole week. You're not going to sweep London every year, right? I mean, I'm going to win both games over there. Chicago's a game that happens in the NFL. Cleveland's not supposed to happen. Buffalo, to be honest with you, is not supposed to happen in that setting when you're 0-2 and you think you should be better and it's Monday Night Football and you lay an egg. Like, that shouldn't happen. Now, you can lose to Buffalo by 6 points or 4 points. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But like, I actually kind of think the Caleb Williams Chicago game, sometimes it happens. Like,
I don't think so. I don't think a rookie's supposed to go out there and be that good in his first year and put up 35 points. And once again, like, I'm not sold on the Chicago Bears. Call me a hater if you want, but
you might be right. I mean, and you're probably right. I'm not saying it should happen. I just think sometimes it does happen. I'm so into how the NFL works these days. Which because I'm hoping it works to benefit the Jags.
No,
and
for
they
sure.
Come back from the dead.
I mean, at least with the Bills, you can say, okay, like Josh Allen, MVP candidate. Yeah, I guess that makes a little sense. Playing in Buffalo's never really an easy spot to play. But when you play in a neutral field, in a field that you're accustomed to playing to year in, year out, and you let Caleb Williams get 4 touchdowns, that's a bad look.
Yeah. Listen, there's been a lot of bad looks. Hasn't been a good look. No doubt. I was thinking of this today, just coming in, because I'm trying to think of what we're doing on like Countdown to Kickoff and our shows, and this is the day we get the locker room, trying to figure out, like, it's odd right now to me around this team, because I don't think we're hanging on to a lot from Sunday. It's nice to get a win, right, and change it a little bit, but I don't think anybody's hanging on to anything right now. It's not like there's some good things to hang on to. Brian Thomas Jr. has been a great story. We'll probably talk about him again today, so that's fun.
Sure.
Trevor's playing good football, better football, the offensive line. Again, there's some things in now a 2, 3, even 4 game span at times for some folks that look pretty good and better. But I just don't think it's like, here they go. Like, I didn't come off Sunday and be like, here come the Jags.
No, you can't.
Right?
And so, the Patriots.
And well, it's not only because it's the Patriots, though, Austin. It's also because it's the Jags still jagging at times.
Because any hope of we thought we could do that again after the Colts game was totally just taken right back out from us against the Bears.
Yeah.
Like just jagging?
It's funny. Careful. That's all I'm going to say. Careful. Careful.
But the reason why I say it is so here's my curiosity. Might be my curiosity in the locker room today. Like, you won 2 football games and you won the other day, but like, how much are you still leaving out there? Like, I don't even know if it's the ceiling for this team, but what does good football look like for this team? Because there's so many things from that game on Sunday to say, man, opening drive touchdown, 5th time in the last 6 games. Okay, finish the drive, Doug or offense or whatever. Make the right call or finish the drive. Go up 3 scores. This team leaves more freaking points on the field than I've ever seen in the history of the league for a team that moves it up and down the field.
Yeah.
Like, they leave so much, and that's not a this year thing. That goes back to last year and really goes back to the previous year. It is a weird thing.
It's tradition.
And then the Jags give up, boom, 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 again, right down the field, up 2 touchdowns.
5 out of 5 out of the move meter.
And third and 15 for a touchdown. Like, these are problems. Like, you can't just disguise these things with wins. And so the Jags were disguising things last year en route to 8-3.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
And the part of that, what they were disguising is they were still turning the football over and they were still winning and they still weren't cashing in on these kind of moments, but they were still winning. Well, the Jags don't have a turnover problem, knock on wood, right now. They do on defense. They can't get them. Like they're on pace to be historically bad right now. No, like they are. I looked it up. San Francisco, I think in 2019 or 18 or something like that, had 9 turnovers for the year. The Jags currently have 3 because they get credited for 1 with the special teams, but they really have 2 on defense, right? So I mean, they're tracking toward historically bad territory in getting turnovers. So. But they don't have a turnover problem on offense, so that's not it, right? But they leave so much out there. So these are problems that you can't just be lost in the sauce here of a win. It's great to get a win, but when are they going to hit what we think they can be? And not even the ceiling, but just like an 80%er, a good football game, 80. It's not going to be perfect. I agree with that when they say that. Well, they better get to it now is my point. They better get to their 80% game. Yeah. Rather than their 60% game, or they're not going to beat these teams.
No, without a doubt. And like I don't think this team is really like flying high after that Patriots, dub, just because we all kind of expected you guys to do that. And like in totality, like it's a 1 week season, right? You just focus on the task at hand. So you come off a win, but like you've still underachieved this entire year. And I think the players in that locker room understand that, and there's more work to do. So I wouldn't expect this team to just come in now and kind of feeling all cocky. It was always the Jags. I don't expect Dewey to what would you grab? Oh yeah, a cheesehead. Yeah, I don't expect Dewey, like if he's in London, to take a cheesehead and say like, you guys are next. Like, no, it's not going to happen because you still have to earn that confidence. You still have to earn having that dog in you. And once again, with all due respect to the Patriots, they're really not that team. So if you can string this together now against the Green Bay Packers and come out and play at least a tough competitive game, then maybe you have something.
Like, do you I didn't go deep dive. Last year I did this deep dive. I thought it was actually a pretty good one. I'm gonna pat myself on the back.
There you go.
I don't even know how to, I had to go through and look it up. Like, it was a lot of research because what was driving me nuts is I thought, and I was correct, that they would get on the other side of the field in opponent's territory. Okay. Like so many times and come away empty. And they did. They did it at an alarming rate. And I forget the numbers now that I did, but it was like, that was a real thing. Like I felt that. I looked it up and the numbers showed it. And I still feel like this is a team. It's weird because they have good stuff going on. I can point to good stuff. Doug and Press move the football down the field back and forth. It's not like a myriad of 3-and-outs. They've had stretches where it's been 3-and-outs, but they move the football. And then they don't seem to score as much as they should do. Is that a common thing in the NFL? And I'm just looking in a vacuum at the Jags because I don't watch everybody else's games? No. Or to not come away with 3 points in spots? Or obviously the red zone has been an issue where you're getting 3 instead of 7. But I think there's a stat out there that Doug and the Jags lead the NFL over the last year in turnover on downs inside the red zone. Like there's that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think the numbers would support it, that they leave so many points on the board. And I don't know why that's a thing. And it's kind of been a thing now for like 2+ years.
I mean, it's one phase of the game. It's one phase of the offense. You talk about starting on your own side of the ball, and then you talk about the middle of the field, and you talk about the red zone. And I'm not sure what the analytics, what the stats would say about the Jaguars' red zone efficiency, but one would think, it's gotten better now thanks to the New England Patriots. But
they were only 2 of 4.
Better now with the New England Patriots. But in totality, I'm not sure like how that efficiency is, but that it's just a part of the offense, Brent. And I think that's one part that's been obviously lacking these past 2 years.
Yeah, it's a weird deal. Now, listen, last year we could point to the run game, but this year the run game is working better. I don't think we're talking about as much 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. I think they're doing a better job. They're not doing unbelievable. They're not the Philadelphia Eagles, but they're doing a better job.
To me, it's more being on first down and like, whether it's incomplete pass, it's a run that goes for like a yard, and now you're second and long, and you're kind of setting your team up for disaster.
So the Jags, here's the example of it, okay? The Jags this season are 23rd right now through the 7 games. They're 23rd in red zone scoring percentage. This is touchdowns. It doesn't matter if you kick a field goal. Okay. And by the way, I would argue that they don't try to kick field goals so much that they're probably even worsely ranked if you include field goals. But 58% in the last 3, 50% overall. They were 60% against the Patriots. Mm-hmm. And in 2023, the Jags were 50%. Now, crazy enough, the teams that are below them.
Yep, math, here we go.
Kansas City, San Francisco, and Dallas of note.
Who's the top? Like, who's the most efficient?
Baltimore.
Yeah, it makes
I'm going
sense.
to give you 1 second. You're going to drop your.
Hang on. Is it Pittsburgh?
No. Cleveland.
Yeah, but how many times have they actually been there?
I know that's a question. I don't know if it's like they just don't get there.
They've converted 3 or 5 times.
But let me give you a couple other teams, okay? Chicago and Houston.
Oh.
And then there's an outlier in
both teams have played the Jaguars, Brent.
Well, and that's true because they're last in red zone efficiency defensively. Like that's a very true thing, right? Buffalo is top 10. They've played the Jags. So, I mean, there's a couple.
Packers starting to lick their chops a little bit.
Well, let's just see where Green Bay is now that you say that. Green Bay is actually very middle of the pack to below. Green Bay is 54%, so they haven't been great in the red zone or as good as they could be.
Well, they've also haven't had Jordan Love the entire season either.
Yeah, they missed him for those couple.
I feel like when you have Malik Willis, you're
and it's something like New Orleans is up here, but they might have been skewed from that first. They cashed in every possession. You just don't listen. It's just a number.
Yeah,
but I think there's some outliers for sure. Like Kansas City would be an outlier. I mean, they're 25th in the league, but they're 6-0. But like San Francisco, you'd expect more, but their record indicates that it's hurting them, right? Dallas, they're 3-3. Their record would indicate it's hurting them because they're 31st in the league. So, yeah, Lions are another one. Lions, by the way, are not as good as you think they are. I thought they'd be very high on here. It feels like they score all the time in this situation. They're 12th. I mean, which isn't bad. But the gap between the Lions at 12 and the Jags at 23 is 8%. I mean, that's probably like 2 more cashing in. You know. So anyway, like it's just a couple of things I think about on my drive-in. I just wonder where it's not their ceiling. I'm not trying to get to their potential. Everybody would say their potential would be high flying and maybe what Detroit and Minnesota are doing right now. Like you feel like you could score 30 plus points a game with this team.
Yes.
Right. But I'm not trying to get there. I'm just wondering, as a football team, like where are they in terms of, a win against New England, and they need to be about 15% better, 10% better to be able to beat the Green Bays. Like,
sure.
How much better do they have to play Sunday to beat Green Bay than they did to beat a poor New England team?
Yeah, I mean, they have to listen.
Is it on defense? Is it on offense?
Well, no, it's everywhere. It's playing complementary football. Let me ask you this: do you still have that list in front of you?
Yeah.
Where's Minnesota?
So 6. I'm sorry, 6.
6. Okay,
very good.
Because I was trying to think of a team like who has like collectively the best offense and defense, and I'd probably say Minnesota.
It's probably a good call. I'll check on that.
Yeah. So because what I'm trying to say here is like, in order to have, I think for the Jaguars, in order to have, that top 12, top 10 showing and that efficiency, I think you need actually help from your defense as well. And you got to play the complementary football. And obviously right now their defense isn't really doing their part. So to answer your question of who has to improve, what do they have to do? Yeah, I mean, the offense needs to take a step forward. Their defense, it has to be more about bending, not breaking, because these past couple weeks we've seen some breaking.
Yeah, you're right. I think if they would just give up field goals, I'd feel better, right?
Correct.
Right? Yeah, that's okay. They're not going to be lights out. We know that. We're not asking them to be lights out. We're asking them to be how much better. What would the record of the Jags be if this defense, and quite frankly, their offense in a lot of categories, was just number 16 in the NFL right now?
Correct.
Very average.
And to echo my point, like what happened? Okay, so Drake May comes out, puts 10 points on the board right away, and it's like, here we go again. And then it's 3 and out, it's 3 and out, and it's 3 and out. And during those 3 and outs, or like I think that was how it went. Yeah, 3 straight 3 and outs. When that happened, what happened with the offense? Then all of a sudden they started clicking a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's my example. That's what I'm saying when it's complementary football.
Yeah, I'll try to find the Vikings one. That's a good call. Like I wonder who. I feel like Baltimore's not in this probably though, because Baltimore's defense.
Their defense has been a little porous. I feel like. Hamby, you got anybody? Like if you're gonna take collectively team offense and team defense and say who has the highest ranking, who are you giving it to?
I've been nose deep in research trying to find these stats.
I like it.
I'm going to leave this one to y'all.
Okay. I think it's the Vikings, but.
Yeah, I don't know. This was 5 days ago now. I mean, the Chiefs have one of the best defenses in the league.
Correct.
That's 2 years running. by the way. But they don't have one of the best offenses. That's crystal clear now. You can say what you want about Mahomes, and we everybody should say, but they don't have a good offense, and that's why they traded for DeAndre Hopkins, probably. We'll do a little research here. We're going to take a time out anyway. We come back and we do talk about DeAndre Hopkins. Does this guy have anything left? And if anybody's going to tap into it, it's probably going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. How much does he help them? Because it's weird about the Chiefs right now. Do you feel like they're going to get so much better because they haven't played well? Or is this who they are, right? And I think that's a delicate situation. I think we saw that a little bit with Jacksonville. They turned out to be last year who they were with some of the mistakes going. They never really fixed them. We waited, and they never really fixed them, and it caught up to them. So are the Chiefs in that kind of danger zone this year when you're playing like the way they're playing on offense? Are they getting a little bit fortunate to be 6-0, or is the league unfortunate because wait until they actually figure it out on offense? Which one's going to be? Will it be? Brent Austen Show on a Wednesday, on a Whataburger Wednesday. Good to be here in studio, the Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network Studios.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who is coming to your house. You know they will be well trained, and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at BoldCityAC.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. BoldCityAC.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at BoldCityAC.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Nobody but Nimnicht. Our family has purchased 6 vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Who gives you top dollar for your trade? Nobody but Nimnicht. Save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%. You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer. You can schedule a test drive at NimnichtBuickGMC.com, and while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnicht is there for you, even on Sundays. So, who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? The answer's simple. Nobody but Nimnicht. Your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC. We are professional grade. If you need a quality play this football season at your home, call That One Painter First Coast. Locally owned and operated, experienced employees, no builder grade materials. And there's more, and for that we throw it to Noah Schlicksup. That One Painter First Coast can apparently help your kicking game too.
Well, after my failure on skinny sticks last year on Creekside game day, I've spent a lot of time out here at Creekside practicing my kicks. There's only one issue. How is that even possible? The good news is I know exactly who can help. That One Painter can handle all your painting needs, from field goal posts to cabinets to stucco. they got you covered. Though they may not be able to help with my kicking, they can certainly help with the posts. Call That One Painter First Coast today for all your painting needs at 904-495-1373.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
How about a little fancy ketchup?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Come on, man. It's like my whole cheat week. Where are the burgers at?
Oh, that's a good. We should have done that.
Should have did it. It's all
I'm
right,
like
though.
so fat ball seasoned up right now anyway that I might as well just keep cheating for another couple of weeks and then
Do it, man.
Why is it in my mind that I feel like I should just start I'm going to be better. I'm going to do better on like the first of the month.
Sure. Yeah.
Why
yeah.
can't it be on like the 24th of the month?
Because, man, it's kind of like, you pull the calendar. It's a clean slate, new month, new you, all that good stuff.
Yeah, why is that? That's some like psychology there.
It's
I
definitely
guess.
psychology, yeah.
But guess what? I've let a lot of first of the month go by without being better.
I mean, look no further than the New Year's resolution. I mean, gyms are absolutely packed, loaded.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a clean slate, right? Because
Yeah.
the turn of the year. Mm-hmm. I've been bad. I got to get going. I can't. I don't know. I'm lacking the willpower that I'm disappointed in myself.
Do you think everyone has ever set a resolution where it's like, you know what? I'm a little too lean. I'm a little too fit. I'm a little too fit. Let me go ahead and have some cheat meals here, a little more than I usually do, and let's start out this New Year's the right way.
Yeah, let's just grab some of this and just.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, hey, let's put it on something, please. But yeah.
Brent Martineau Austen Lane.
Oh, and if you want to hear a great endorsement,
it's Whataburger Wednesday, by the way.
If you want to hear a great endorsement about Whataburger, so in Vegas, right? I had to give Ronan the Vegas experience, right? So after the fight, we go to the Bellagio fountains. We do that. Brent, you haven't been there, but you're going to realize. We go sneak on to the spot that I discovered for the Sphere. Got thrown off that spot, actually, by the security, but it's okay. We got like a good 15 minutes of the Sphere viewing experience, so got that. And then I took him to In-N-Out Burger. And, dude, I'm a big In-N-Out guy, right? And I'm like, so what do you think, man? He's like, I mean, it's good. Like, is there In-N-Out here? I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think Vegas has it has Whataburger. I'm like, sorry, man. I don't think we can. I'm trying to give you the Vegas experience. And he's like, I'd rather have some Whataburger. Yeah, I'll take some Whataburger instead. So there you go, Whataburger. There's your endorsement.
We actually were down in St. Augustine yesterday. Everything's like closed at like 10 o'clock trying to eat something, grab something. And we found on our way out, we're like, oh, Whataburger, that would be the place to go. They're still open.
Let's go.
We got it down there near Flagler. So
I've had it like 3 times in the last week.
Oh, how about that?
Good. But, I mean, it's been unbelievable, but it's not good.
But it's not good. You're having it 3 times in a week. Well, your cheat week is here. What does cheat week look like?
No, I mean, it's not really a cheat week. So usually, like, after my fight, like, after my fight, usually I had like beers and stuff, just kind of like, just unwind.
Because you have none of that the whole time.
No, none of that. I had literally all I had to drink after my fight is I had just a little thing of sake because we were at a sushi rest,rant and one of my coaches ordered sake. He's like, want to try it? I'm like, yeah, I'll have some sake. So I had a little cup of sake and then I had one glass of Redbreast with one of my friends, like a whiskey.
Yeah.
And that's been it. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure when I go to Murray State this weekend, because my friends will be from Wisconsin, will be there too as well. So we'll be
loose a little bit this weekend.
Well, I'm sure we'll be cutting it up a little bit, but no, I mean, I kind of keep it within reason, man. Because like the last thing I want to do is go like hog wild, eat everything, gain like 20 pounds, and have to eventually like lose it again.
Yeah.
I guess I'm kind of lazy when it comes to that. Like, I'm lazy when it comes to like
Losing it?
I'd rather just like maintain it throughout the year as opposed to like, all right, the roller coaster.
It is funny. Like I'm on the roller coaster, and I say it all the time when you come down and you're like feel so good, and you're like, why would I ever like gain another 12 pounds?
Because
Like
food
I
tastes
feel
good.
so good.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, then life happens.
Food tastes
I
good.
guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, DeAndre Hopkins has happened to Kansas City. Why do I feel I don't want to say this out loud, and I'm going to say it anyway. Like, who cares? Like, that's how I feel about this move, all right? Like, I feel like, who cares? Like, he's not, DeAndre Hopkins ain't DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins, to me now, is like A.J. Green was late in his career. It's a great name. And did nothing.
For the Cardinals.
No, seriously. Like, that's,
Okay, but
like, we have a hard time grasping that with a big-name guy.
yeah, but okay.
I mean, he's Torrey Holt when he came to Jacksonville.
Yeah, but with all due respect, when you have Will Levis throwing the football,
I understand that.
how good can you really be?
But how good was he when Kyler Murray was throwing him the football? Like,
I mean, yeah, a lot better than Daniel Jones was throwing the football if he was on the Giants. By the way, he got benched, in case you didn't know.
I saw that.
We're going to break that down later this week.
that were well passes.
Oh, no. It's never going anywhere with the Daniel Jones
I did see
stuff.
a clip of Kyler Murray today missing a wide open Marvin Harrison.
Did they win or not?
They did win.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Goals.
Oh, that's what.
Field goals for everybody.
Dub's a dub, right? No, with DeAndre Hopkins, like, yeah, I get it. He's on the back nine of his career. He's not the guy that we're accustomed to seeing when he was with Houston. 12 catches, 100 and some change, couple touchdowns. Like, yeah, I get he's not that guy. But what makes you a little nervous is he's playing with Patrick Mahomes now, right? Like, Juju Smith-Schuster was a trivia question.
Yeah.
Until he got back to Kansas City again. Like in New England, nobody even like thought about Smith-Schuster. Nobody cared about the TikToks. Goes to Kansas City, a little bit of a resurgence. So if they can do that for Juju Smith's career,
Yeah.
if he's healthy, what can they do for DeAndre Hopkins' career?
Yeah, he helps him. I mean, he does help him. I'm not saying that. I just don't. Hammy, what does it do for you? I mean, you're like,
I'm glad it's not
look
Cooper
out
Kupp.
now?
I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was gonna be Cooper Kupp.
Well, that would be
which I would have told Roger Goodell to stop this. Yes. Stop this
Derrick
insanity.
Henry to Baltimore's enough.
Stop this insanity right now.
The FTC breaking up the monopoly.
Shut it down.
Yeah, it doesn't do a whole lot for me, honestly. It does give him that one last gasp to see if he can find something that he hasn't in the last 2 years for Hopkins-wise. And again, if anybody can do it, it's going to be Mahomes. But when I saw the trade, I was like, yeah, I mean, Mahomes can make something out of nothing anyway, but it's not like no matter what he does, we're still going to be talking more about Mahomes than we are Hopkins.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he'll make plays and there'll be moments and stuff like that. I just don't know big picture how much it's going to really like. I'll be interested to see where their offense moves from. Right now, their offense is not very good in points per game. Even I think they're just okay. And honestly, this is not a this year problem. Like their offense was just okay last year. Mm-hmm. The bigger problem for the Kansas City Chiefs, the cheat code for the Chiefs over these last however many years has been Travis Kelce. He's 34 years old plus, and he ain't the same Travis Kelce. Like, nobody wants to say it, but he's not the same.
No, and I agree with you there. And I think that's kind of has to do with the Eras tour of maybe doing a little too much traveling and not so much time.
Well, so does his birth certificate have to do with it, too?
Well, a little bit. But, like, okay, with DeAndre Hopkins, though, like, what, do you think it's an age thing, right?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, the guy had over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns last season on an offense that wasn't really that good.
So did Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, and we wanted to keep him.
I know.
Thankfully,
we did.
Well, how many touchdowns did Calvin Ridley have?
I think he had like 8, didn't he?
I can't remember.
7 or 8.
7 or 8, yeah. So I just think that if you put that number from last year, because once again, Hopkins this year's had soft tissue injuries. Like, he's playing with it. Like, he's not playing 100% right now. I'm not sure where he's at, if he's back to 100%, but when he started the season off, he probably should have sat a little bit and got to 100% instead of just kind of go out there and hobble around. But I guess he wanted to play. Nevertheless, I think Patrick Mahomes can bring out the best still of Hopkins.
Yeah. Here's the tell, right?
Even though Mahomes isn't playing that well either, so who knows?
Well, I mean, you could say Mahomes isn't playing well because he doesn't have anybody around him. I mean,
True.
It's a hard position to play. You can't do everything yourself. He doesn't trust the guys that he has a problem that a lot of people have. He has an okay offense around him.
Well, throwing the fact that they brought in Kareem Hunt, the Joe Flacco of running backs right now, and was on his couch and probably a little bit overweight, and he has nobody in the backfield with Pacheco on IR.
Yeah,
that
and
only
Hunt
adds
did a
to
good
it.
job the other day.
Yeah.
But I just don't. I think this is a comfort thing. I think this is a rapport thing. I think this is a talent thing. I think this is an age thing when it comes to the Chiefs. I mean, they're just trying to put this thing together. They are led by their defense. They are a very good defense. They are a defensive football team. And, of course, we didn't want to say that last year, but we knew it. We did try to say it. And then they got hot in the right time in the playoffs. But, I mean, if you were to, ask the Chiefs last year how many good offensive games they had, it would probably be 5. And 3 of them came at the right time in January and February. That was it. This is a very good defensive football team. And now it's 2 years worth of it. At times I think Kansas City has been a bad defensive team. I think also at times their offense has dictated enough, kind of like what the Jags did the other day. Their offense dictated so well that they helped their defense out. They kept them off the field. So they were very fresh, and they made them look better than their defense was in the second and third quarter. Well, now this is totally flipped to this is a very good defensive football team that helps their offense out. And it even helps Patrick Mahomes out on occasion. And Mahomes still going to get done. So what do you think? Are the Chiefs now, are they going to find their offense, do you think? Or do you think this is who they are? Or do you think now they incrementally get better just because they'll play better? I mean, Patrick Mahomes can play better than he's playing.
I think they'll get better. I don't think this is their identity right now. I still think they're trying to learn how to gel a little bit on offense. Like Xavier Worthy's still trying to figure it out a little bit. He's such a dynamic, explosive player. They just got to find the right ways to use him. Kind of like, you saw Mecole Hardman kind of have a little bit of a resurgence last game. Like, Andy Reid is the master of taking of what guys do well and having plays designed for that. Yeah. And I still think they're trying to figure out exactly what Worthy can do. Like, they know what Mecole Hardman can do because I feel like Mecole Hardman's been doing it since I played. Like, the guy's been around, it seems like, forever. And with Travis Kelce, you would think eventually he's going to come around a little more, whether maybe he wasn't the best football shape. I don't know. And this is, me being more of a fantasy guy, but I'm going to need him to do better. Like, that team depends on him. He's one of the leaders. He's one of the captains. You got to show up a little more.
Yeah, I think Kansas City, by the way, is 13th in the league right now at 24.3 points a game, which is actually better than I thought it was going to be. But you're winning games, so you better score 24. Last year, they were 22.2, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's it. And
keep in mind, too, losing Pacheco was huge.
Oh, yeah, big
because
deal.
They wanted to establish their identity. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, these new weapons, Rashee Rice and Xavier. I get all that, but they wanted to pound the rock. Yeah. They wanted to run the football. And when Pacheco went down, that kind of hurt their identity a little bit as well.
So I think they've got excuses. I'm not. And some of their excuses between Kelce just getting older. I don't blame them for hanging on to it. It's just that he's getting older.
Yeah.
And there were signs of this last year, and now it's showing up. But it doesn't mean he can't still have a huge game and stuff. They'll figure it out. There's a lot of confidence. They'll just figure it out. Jacksonville, by the way, is 21 now in the league at 20.7 points per game. They were 22.2 last year. I want to say they were 23.9 or 24 point something the year prior in year one with Doug. So they're actually going in the wrong direction. But what I would say is 20.7. I feel like they're going to be better than that by the end of the year. I think they're going to keep ticking that up because I think they played their worst offensive football from a point production standpoint in the first 4, 5, 6 games. This isn't a team that's going to score 17 and 13. I think they're going to score 24, 27. They should have scored 3 out of the last 4 games. I think they should have scored over 30 points. Houston, they should have scored over 30 points. They had it right there in front of them, and they didn't. So should have is something we've been saying a lot about the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, hey, what about the receiver position in general? So we see Devontae Adams go. We see Cooper Kupp might be on the block. We see DeAndre Hopkins go. Who am I missing? I'm missing a big guy.
Adams went to...
Adams. No, I said Adams, but there was another one. Didn't somebody else big get traded? To Amari Cooper to Buffalo. Mm-hmm. And then you see the injuries. Debo, Aiyuk.
Nico.
Who? Oh, Nico.
Nico Collins.
But Tampa, Mike Evans.
Oh, Mike Evans.
And now
Chris Godwin.
I mean, holy cow. Are we going to – where did the market just go for a guy like Christian Kirk if somebody calls is my question.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely up there now. It's definitely been raised. I mean, but the thing with Christian Kirk, though, he's a little bit of a niche receiver, I feel like. It's not like you lose your one receiver, it's like, oh, man, we got to replace him right now. I'm not sure Christian Kirk's that guy. He's the slot guy. So, for instance, Chris Godwin's out for the season, yeah? Yes.
Oh, yeah, he's done.
Yeah.
Had him in 3 fantasy leagues, no problem.
Oh, condolences there, Hamby.
By the way, he was playing excellent ball, too.
Of course.
Yeah, and, he was my number 1 sleeper guy going into the year. So I was so pumped. I took him like the 7th round.
Well, he'll be sleeping in now because he's out for the season. Sorry about that, dude.
Thanks, no problem.
Yeah, but no, I think Christian Kirk is a guy that can make sense in Tampa Bay just because he's a slot guy.
Interesting. Let me ask you this. Did the Kansas City Chiefs call for Christian Kirk?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
I feel like it could really use him in that offense.
Yeah, but like, what does Christian Kirk do better? Well, okay, here's what I'm going to go with this. Where would you see Christian Kirk in this offense with Rashee Rice? I'm sorry, well, he's up the season too, but I'm saying with Xavier Worthy, with Smith-Schuster. Like, where would you see him? Because I don't think he's not the quickest dude anymore. I feel like he's more of a possession guy.
He is. He's sneaky fast, though. I don't think people give him credit for as fast as he can be and is.
I just don't know.
Fast, but you don't need that fast. You got that guy.
Yeah, I just don't know if I can.
Was Juju's playing the slot?
He's a slot right now. Yeah,
but he's hurt, right?
I mean, do we know how long though?
I don't know.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I'm just curious to see. First of all, Kansas City alone, I feel like they could be way better with a guy like Kirk right now at 27, 28 years old. So I'd make the call rather than Hopkins just hoping. He's hurt too. I mean, Kirk is healthy.
Banged up.
So,
but Kirk was hurt. I mean,
he's been hurt. But I mean, I think we're way past Christian Kirk being hurt.
Okay.
I mean, that's not a thing, you know? And then just in general, Austin, like the market for Christian Kirk, I got to believe people are calling the way they've been calling for receivers. You just said Tampa. Tampa, I mean, basically Bowles did something that most coaches don't do. Yeah, we're going to call around. We're going to call around. Like they got nothing. So, I mean, I don't know. You said it. You think that could be a good fit in Tampa.
Yeah.
For a guy like Kirk.
Yeah. I mean, like I don't think he's Godwin, but I think he could step in for Godwin. Yeah.
So anyway, I just think the receiver market has been really wild the last week and a half. So where does that put a guy like Kirk, who could be expendable from a business standpoint? I'm not, by the way, advocating for this. I actually wonder. Do you wonder if Trevor Lawrence would be like, don't move him?
Parker Washington, man, like you have to.
But he loves Kirk.
Sure, that's great, and Doug Peterson loves Press Taylor. That's great, but like
that's worked out to keep Press Taylor.
Yeah, but it's about the longevity, man. It's about the future as well, and I get maybe you're still like a wrinkle of hope, a glimmer of hope that you can still make the playoffs, a 2% chance or whatever it is. Fine, but I'm gonna be honest with you. If they're gonna trade Parker Washington, I wouldn't lose. I'm gonna trade Christian Kirk, and you elevate Parker Washington, I wouldn't lose sleep about it. Like I think that would be a role that Parker Washington could fill in pretty nicely too. I mean, I know Trevor has something to say about it, but I'm just saying from a schematic standpoint.
No, you've got a guy.
Fine.
I understand the logic.
You have the guy.
I don't want to say it out loud. I got to understand the logic. I like Kirk too much.
Oh.
I'm like Trevor. I'm going to go to Doug and
Trent. At least we're not biased or anything, you know.
I admit it.
Yeah.
I am. Plus, I told them the other day on the show, I got 2 more shows with you. They can't trade you.
Business decisions. I got you.
How hard it is to find these guys to come
business decisions.
On the show?
That actually want to come on the show. I know, man. We've come a long way. Who's the one dude that no show?
We'd have to go back.
You're talking about Carlos Hyde. I got you.
Hyde.
Yeah,
he slept in.
Yeah,
at 7:00.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
But anyway, I think that Kirk stuff's fascinating because the Jags are in a spot where they could be sellers, but and people are buying. Like people are buying receivers right now. That is really my point.
Yeah.
But I also think there is an element here where there's so much unknown about Parker. Where sure, I can make the case that you could do that, but I'm not sure I like that. And there's a bigger picture thing here. Isn't it important, even if the Jags don't make the playoffs, for Trevor to be playing good football and whatever it is to have him playing good football and continue to grow and all this stuff? Are you going to upset right now? It looks like he's in a better rhythm and things like that.
Sure.
Are you going to upset that a little bit? Is there a bigger picture to play here by keeping Kirk and saying, oh, yeah, give me a 3rd round or a 4th round pick? Like, do I give a damn about a 3rd or 4th round pick? I hate draft picks around here.
Well, that was going to be my first question is what would you trade for? What did Hopkins get?
Hopkins got a conditional 5th. So it's like, or I don't know how they could label it. It's a 5th, could be a 4th.
Okay.
Which means you've got to think like a guy like Kirk could get At least a fourth, could be a third. But he does have bigger salary too. So there's.
I would
that
probably
part.
say he gets a fourth.
All right.
I would.
Fourth.
Yeah, so fourth.
So you traded for a fourth-round pick.
But I mean, I'm not super amped about that. But what I am super amped about is finding out if Parker Washington's the guy or not. Because theoretically, how long is Christian Kirk going to be here in Jacksonville? Like, how many more years of playing for the Jaguars?
I think it's a fair question. He's expensive next year. Jags have plenty of cap space. I also think he's a guy that could restructure and stick around. Like he's a willing restructure guy, in my opinion. I don't know this. I don't want to put words in his mouth or his agent's mouth. I'm just saying.
Ask him quick. Go and call him.
I think
you guys are boys.
I think he likes it here, right?
Okay.
I think so. If you like it here, then why do you want to move and uproot and all that stuff? And that might be like, okay, this makes sense to restructure, right?
But maybe like a new coaching staff comes in, like we'll see. We're speaking
I get it.
semantics, but maybe a new coaching staff comes in and maybe they want to go a different direction.
Well, a new GM comes in and says, I don't care if you want to restructure, you're out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
But my point is like I would love to see what Parker Washington can do because. Once again, like if you guys are still pie in the sky for the playoffs, more power to you. But I'm kind of worried about now, like the next couple of years for this franchise. Not saying we're getting a mock draft talk just yet, but I'm saying I want to see what Parker Washington can do. I want to see if can he be a dependable guy going forward, or if you do lose out Christian Kirk next year, do we kind of have to address that, whether it's in draft or free agency, of maybe finding a solid number two? Because I think the jury's still out right now on Gabe Davis as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, I would say this to the chat, DHop Jags. I mean, this isn't your fantasy team. You can't just dump Gabe Davis. Who's taking him? He's $13 million. What's he done? What's he done to take him?
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's not how this works. Yeah, okay, all right, take Gabe Davis. Great.
Yeah.
That ain't how it works.
Yeah, it's not how it works.
So you're not trading Gabe Davis. I don't think there's value, quite frankly, right now to trade Gabe Davis.
I don't think anybody's really chomping at the bit to get Gabe Davis on their team.
There sure as hell ain't value to trade Devin Duvernay. He's out.
Yeah.
Probably for weeks, given his situation. So I think the Kirk and Parker thing's fascinating, though. Do you feel comfortable? See, here's my problem with it. If I'm Doug and I'm the offense and I'm Shad and I'm Trent and I'm everybody, this offense has struggled at times to find continuity and sync. They've just been out of sync for a couple of years. Calvin Ridley played a role in that. Even when Parker did play in the absence of Kirk, there was some of that. You could see Trevor no, you're supposed to be here, right? Mm-hmm. Parker, I think, has upside. I like him.
Of course.
I think he's actually earned an opportunity to be on the field a little bit more. I think they've started to put him on the field a little bit more. I don't know what his snap count was. Maybe you can look this up, Amby. But I guarantee you he
Parker?
played. Yeah, I guarantee you he played Sunday the most snaps he played this year. I'm pretty sure he did. So they're trying to use him more. But I also don't know. I mean, Christian Kirk is a reliable dude. He's going to line up right. He's going to. The mistakes that they've been making are so self-inflicted that I think he's not going to do that.
I mean, he has made a couple mistakes. Well, he's dropped.
Drops
That's a mistake.
Well, no, I know. Drops, they're all dropping.
Okay.
It's one thing to drop. It's another thing to line up wrong.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not telling you the drops are okay.
Good, Brent.
But
I know you guys are friends, but let's draw the line here a little bit.
I'm concerned Parker is going to make young guy mistakes, and that's not a knock on him. It's just that's what happens. And then in your red zone or your key moments, now we're talking about a guy that if Kirk was there, he ain't making that mistake.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing though, Brent. I want to find out. I want to see if Parker's going to make the mistakes or not, just so we know what we have going forward. If he can be a guy that's dependable for years and years to come for the Jaguars, because I'm not sure how many more years theoretically Christian Kirk is going to be here.
Most snaps of the year.
Yeah, I was right. What is it?
34%.
Yeah, so they're trying to get him out there.
He's averaging probably, if I had to guess, 23, 24%. So it's not a huge uptick.
Percent's different. He actually had 22 snaps in week 3.
Right.
Why is that? Was somebody out? Or did they just?
That
was the Buffalo game. That was the Buffalo game. They probably
time.
put him in late and got the guys out there. But that 34% is pretty significant. I just look at the number of plays. Forget about percentages. 21 plays. So they've been trying to get him on the field a little bit. They only got him on there at 8 times against Indianapolis. Oh no, would that been? Yeah, that would been Indianapolis. They're trying. I said this coming out of camp. Listen, Parker Washington, great in the return game the other day. He was terrific in camp and in the preseason games. Mm-hmm. But I said, how are you going to get him on the field? Mm-hmm. Where are the snaps for this guy? You can't just take Kirk off the field. You're paying him $17 million a year.
Right.
Right? So, listen, I think it's a fair question. I think it's an interesting one internally to handle. Do you listen? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. What is it? Because it's funny, you say, hey, I want to see Parker a little bit and see what he's got. But then I say, okay, I'll give you a 4th-round pick. And you're like, oh, shit. Sorry, 4th-round pick. I don't give a damn about a 4th-round pick. I know Trent Baalke gives a damn about a 4th-round pick. That thing's coveted like a child.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't. I don't care. Like, I want wins. Like, I don't care about the 8th overall pick. Like, if I want wins. I need wins.
Care about we need wins, but we need to care about the future too, Brent. Because
Parker's not going anywhere. He's in year 2.
I know, but I want to see if listen, I don't know right now if Parker Washington next year can be cemented as a starting receiver. I don't know that. I would like to know that.
Yeah, that's why it's a good argument.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly think if we were inside their walls, these are not arguments, but conversations that are taking place. And I think if I'm Chad Hall, the receivers coach, if I'm Press Taylor, the OC, if I'm Doug, if I'm Trent, if I'm whoever else, Ethan Waugh in there, and there's these 5 folks are having this conversation, I think all 5 people are probably making very valid points, which makes it a difficult decision.
The way I see it is
they have a decision. I mean,
correct.
Assuming the phone is ringing.
The way I see it is this. Brian Thomas Jr. is your go-to guy.
Yeah.
He's established that. He's your one receiver. Mm-hmm. Will you lose that much if you trade away Christian Kirk and replace him with Parker Washington? Like, would it be noticeable? Now, it could be noticeable in terms of Trevor Lawrence, maybe the friendship and everything. That could affect him. So if that's the case then, and we got to care about Trevor's feelings, then okay.
I think he's above that.
Well, whatever. I would hope so. But if that's the case, then okay, then don't trade him. But if the argument is like, well, I mean, I don't want a 4th-round pick or like keep Christian Kirk. Like, yeah, I get that, but like, are you going to really fall off that much by trading him away and elevating Parker Washington? I don't know at this point.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You don't know. And are you okay with the unknown? Right, that would be the conversation. Mm-hmm. If all 5 of us are at the table in the setting that I created, then I think, are you comfortable with that? And then what's the return? Right. So here's what I would say. I don't think, and I don't know this, I'm just wondering. The trade deadline, I think, is coming up on November 5th. So we're still essentially 2 weeks out. I think what's interesting to me, I don't think the Jags are shopping Kirk. But I can't imagine their phone hasn't rung yet or isn't going to ring over the next 2 weeks. Not the way the receivers are going all over the place right now. Now, you've got other options. You could call about Kupp, and maybe there's even a Metcalf I've seen in play or something like that, like I think for some people. So there are other things to do. But I got to believe the phone's going to ring or has rung. I don't think the Jags are going to actively try to promote that, even with like an ETN and some others that could be on the – they're not necessarily putting them on the block. They're just kind of listening to can we get, which is okay.
They're fielding calls, of course.
Which is okay.
What's wrong with that?
Seen a lot of Deontay Johnson from the Panthers trade rumors.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
He's been a target monster.
Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
Was there a rumor I saw last night, or was I like half knocked out because of my allergies, that like Stafford to the Vikings or something like that?
I did see that, but I don't know how much is behind that.
I saw it as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was real.
It was 1 page.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be crazy.
That would be crazy because you'd upset what's going on right now in Minnesota.
Well, you'd elevate it though, I think.
Well, you could.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
When you're playing very good ball. Like,
no,
you upset that?
You go 5-1, you can't make a trade for it.
I know. Imagine going 5-1 and saying, "Let's go ahead and let's get a little better here."
Yeah, it's a great trade for like McVay, because McVay's like, I'll take Sam Darnold at 20. Whatever, how old is he? He's young, right? He's still very young. Is that the story with Darnold?
A lot younger than Stafford, for sure, yeah.
So, like, you take him, and you're like, I can do that.
27.
Yeah, so you get him kind of in your prime, like, hey, okay, he's got some confidence now. Let's go bring him over here. We're rebuilding it. Makes some sense.
It's almost like the reverse of what they've done the past, decade of just giving away all their first-round picks for free agents, and now they're just going to trade away their free agent, trade away their stars for more draft picks.
Which they have. I mean, Donald, before he retired, I think there was some smoke there that they could move him. Then they trade Ramsey, of course.
Traded Akers.
And they traded Akers. They trade if they trade Kupp and Stafford. I mean, what an interesting
I would be
reset.
shocked if they, and this kind of, we can kind of get into the point right now. Kupp is, I mean, with, Puka's good too as well. And yeah, Stafford's good, but Kupp is the best player when he's healthy on the Rams.
He's older now too, though, right? Is he to that point?
I don't know. I mean, I get injuries play a factor, but I still think he's the best player on that team now that Donald's obviously
31.
He's 31?
Yeah, 31's okay, but it's close now. 31
31's
starts to
the
become
age
close.
that all these other receivers are. That's how old Hopkins is.
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying. It becomes close. Like Calvin Ridley, 30. That was our concern about Ridley.
How old is Tyreek Hill?
He's probably right at 30.
I would look it up myself, Amy, but the
30.
internet's not. Okay.
30. Yeah.
Like Devontae Adams is that age.
Yeah.
And I think Adams is slower. Adams is not as good as he was.
The only guy that's defied this, as we've said many times, is Mike Evans.
Evans is the guy, yeah.
He's 31.
Yeah. Yeah. But remember, A.J. Green, when he got to this age, fell off.
Yeah.
Like that was reality. He fell off. He was terrific, but he fell off. So I'm just fascinated with the receiver market right now, and the Jags hold a card. Now, you're right. It does have to be a fit.
Yeah.
The Jags hold a card here.
Yeah, but it's not like Devontae Adams. It's not like Cooper. Well,
I think
you
it's
think Cooper
better.
Cut? You think it's better?
Well, I think it's better
No.
because it's a manageable dollar more than those guys.
Yeah, but I don't think it's necessarily a need for everybody.
And probably not as costly.
Sure, but any team would take Cooper Kupp for the right price. Any team, and I get it's hindsight will be 2020, but any team would take Devontae Adams. Like you would say, okay, Devontae, we'll find a spot for you. Cooper, we'll find a spot for you. I don't think not every team in the NFL is going to go, oh yeah, Kirk, you come on, but we got a spot for you. Like I don't think every team's got a spot for Christian Kirk.
Yeah, this one does right now, and we'll see if it does in 2 weeks. This is about as fascinating of a trade deadline as I can remember in Jacksonville. One, they've got players that have value. Two, they're in a predicament. and three, it's like, do you hold on to your jobs?
Yeah.
Or do you look ahead for the future? That's an interesting balance with the guys they've got in place right now, with the noise that's around here if they continue to lose games. This week could have a lot to say about all of that. If they beat Green Bay and you're 3-5, you're holding on.
Yeah.
If they lose, you start projecting 2-9 or 3-8, and you're like, whoa, let's think about this, right? And especially depending on how it looks. Let's take a time out. Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Hamby's got some interesting numbers. Also, there's some interesting thoughts in the chat.
Doing math again,
Well,
guys?
we're gonna hope that he copied the numbers from somewhere else. Plagiarism works here.
We encourage it.
And then the chat has some interesting topics. I want to get to the chat. We'll get you guys involved. Appreciate you being along here on a Whataburger Wednesday on the AS Jax 24/7 network. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jags Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242. You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing. Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
At Southampton, local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back here to the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. We are back, man. We've been all over the place. Has any show done more miles than this over the last six weeks?
When's the last time you saw this shot?
Yeah,
for real.
Would have closed the door if I thought. But Pac-Man, has anybody beat me?
Forgot to tell you this.
Would have been bragging about it if somebody beat me. Somebody would have bragged about it.
So went to this place called Area 15 in Las Vegas, and in Area 15 they have an Omega Mart. And Omega Mart, if you don't know, it's like this. It's just this giant shopping mart of chaos. There's like secret doors you go in. It's really cool. But in Area 15 they had the world's largest Pac-Man game.
Really?
Yes. It was like. I can't
like
describe
a whole
it.
wall?
Oh, it was a wall of it. Yeah. So like you stood like on like so like the control was like actually you stand on it and then it's like in front of you and the whole screen, the whole wall takes up the screen. It was really cool. I tried it.
You tried it?
Different. It's really different though because
I don't think I'd be as good at it.
I wasn't a fan actually.
Yeah.
And everyone's watching me. I'm like this is a lot harder because like it moved like your eyes and everything. Like you have the small screen here in the room. It's like okay, you just kind of move around and everything. I didn't adjust and I embarrassed myself. I was out after the second round, Brent. I'm sorry.
You embarrassed
I'm sorry.
You usually do better on this one then?
I mean, I can get to like level 5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's not embarrassing at least. Mm-hmm. Pac-Man Machine's been like the thing in 2024 here at the Action News Jax Studios. It's a good addition.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to name any names, but I see some people playing it all the time in here.
Oh, there are people that play it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
All the time in here.
Yeah. I should charge like a nickel to play it. I wonder how
you could buy a second Pac-Man machine.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of do appreciate it though, Brent. And you know me, I'm not a big Pac-Man guy, right? But I kind of do appreciate it because I feel like nowadays with the generations and everything, like if you have free time, all right, just go on our phone and like just look at just whatever stupid stuff. But it's cool to go back to a little nostalgic and be like, hey, I want to spend my time playing some Pac-Man.
I don't mind it at all. I think it's good.
So
it's good for the workplace.
I can appreciate that.
We probably need more of these, like littered around the area.
I'm not sure what work like productivity is doing. Hopefully, it's on the breaks and everything.
Yeah,
because like I said, seen some people in here. Okay,
get a lot of breaks.
A lot of breaks. Yeah, not gonna snitch on anybody, but
Brent's mic seems a lot quieter than Austin.
Hamby, let's go.
Come on, Hamby. Let's fix that. You want me to yell a little more, Andy?
Hamby, come on, man.
All the way to London?
You're at the exact same level.
That's interesting.
I'm just a little more intense.
Where are you watching, Andy? You're on YouTube, it looks like, right? Yeah. Sometimes, it's funny that we are on so many platforms that we actually talk about this quite a bit, that a lot of some of the platforms come out differently in terms of how you hear it. Sometimes it can even be over-modulated on some places. So we are...
That's why we're happy to announce we're going to go to OnlyFans. Just one platform, everybody. OnlyFans platform coming out January 2025.
Yeah.
You ready for that one, everybody?
That's right. You will.
Don't bro me. They have like stand-up artists now on OnlyFans. It's not just what you think it is. Yeah. Yeah, that they have actually like
they're expanding their horizons.
Comics. Yeah.
All right.
Why not?
Maybe we should hit the platform.
That's what I'm saying.
Where it is and make a lot of money on that platform.
Have we had this conversation yet? We have Daniel, the insurance, long name, Kilkenny, say get a Street Fighter 2 machine, which I'm not mad at. If you could buy any other stand-up machine and put it in here.
Galaga.
Expensive.
I think I have it on there.
Did he just say Galaga? Hamby, how old are you?
Oh, we asked that question quite a bit.
I know, but like
21 or 23, actually going on 75.
Okay,
75. Wow, you really
didn't remember his age for a second. Let's just bypass that real quick.
75.
Did you have a fight this past weekend? Are you okay? Sleep. I get it. Sleep deprivation.
It's all good.
Hey, Brent. I mean, I don't want to say anything, man, but if you want to expense it to the Brent Austen account, the LLC, let's go ahead and get some NBA Jam in here, please.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one.
People like NBA Jam. It wouldn't be mine. You know what I would get?
Yeah.
If I'm gonna get the USA against Russia and the hockey. with the globe. What do you even call that?
Like a I don't know. Yeah,
that'd be my next purchase.
It's like foosball, but with the hockey thing.
Yeah.
If I can get that,
I'll get that.
I love that.
Somebody find me a good price on it, I'll get it.
Because here's the thing, because you have to like a two-player thing, Brent. You have to get interactive.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Nothing against Pac-Man, but like, you can't. I mean, like, I'll watch you play it, but then it's like, all right,
that's true.
We're all good.
That's
what about that first tee, or is it
Golden Tee?
Is that what it is?
People love Golden Tee.
Don't people love that?
I mean, I'll play some Golden Tee at the bar every once in a while.
Yeah,
but I'm not like obsessed with it.
Some people are.
They have tournaments. Oh yeah, like $1 million tournaments.
We have darts actually in our office.
Oh, I know.
I could bring it in here.
Yeah.
I
have a little bit of
darts
rematch.
a little bit.
Can I be honest with you with the whole darts thing, though? I don't like the fact that it's not like an electronic dartboard.
Oh, you rather have it electronic?
Yeah.
Keep this
count for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Count for me.
I'll get the electronic one in here.
Oh, let's go.
Make sure that the dartboard is on that side and not near the drive-through window, please.
Oh, yeah.
If I screw up a break or something.
If these music levels keep getting screwed up, Hamby, it's going to be one right at the peak.
Hey, by the way, we could have the dart contest from here. If we hit Hamby, it's over. Sorry, dude. Unless we get the rubber tips, right?
I love it. No, steel tips, man. Let's go. We're going old school.
By the way, the dart story is Austin thought I had no chance to beat him, but in Atlanta at the Super Bowl, I did.
Brent did actually beat me. Yeah,
he was. He had a few pops in him by that time?
Oh, I had a few barley pops.
He was not 100%. But it's not like I was drinking water.
Everybody who plays those type of games
was going toe-to-toe with me,
better on that.
No, that's the thing. I have to find the right combination, because like too much, and I'm like, I don't even care about this game anymore. If I don't drink enough, then it's like, what are we doing? I didn't find the right formula that night. But no, that was fun.
That was fun. That was a good trip.
Where's the Super Bowl again this year?
New Orleans.
I'll see you there. I have friends there. I have friends.
If I know your schedule, you'll be fighting the day
I know. I'll probably be fighting in New Orleans. Yeah,
every big
for
event
sure.
you fight.
I know, man. Yeah, that's a good point.
Hey, Hamby did some homework, and then I want to get to the chat. But where are we at here?
Look at the bottom.
All the way at the bottom? Okay, 68 total drives this year.
Or you can look here.
Times getting across the 40-yard line. The opponent's 40-yard line.
Correct.
Now, Hamby, did you actually watch all this film, or how do you have these numbers?
No, I went through game by game and
play by play.
Yeah, the play by play.
Okay, still impressive. Okay.
So what's interesting is, when I did this last year, I did this with crossing midfield because I figure if you get in midfield, especially nowadays, you're almost at field goal range, right? But you did it crossing the 40-yard line of the opponent.
Yeah, because that's
been across
really
the 40
that's when you can
times?
score.
yeah, they're 50% clip.
That's crazy.
I want to swear.
Let it go, man. I mean, come on. They do it on ESPN. Have you watched College Game Day?
I know. I don't know if Bob the boss would like it if I swore, but I really want to swear. I mean, why is this?
If Nick Saban can swear, we can swear. Sorry.
This is bad. So give me the percentage of score explanation you've got here.
So
Because you have two numbers.
Yeah. So the times that we've scored when we pass the 40 is 76%. But the times that we've scored on all drives, period, is only 38%.
Oh, okay. So actually this isn't as bad as yours. I see what you're saying. You're saying there's 68 total drives this season.
Yes.
And they've
Half
scored
of
on-
those. So actually the half of the percentage is actually good to get across the 40.
Yes.
And
That's
so,
impressive.
And now you're
Well,
saying,
but is it? I mean, because
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, but the new kickoff rule, is it that hard?
yeah, you started.
You know,
at
you
30.
start at 30.
I don't know. I'd have
This
to.
is getting 30 yards on a drive.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that's
I
still-
bet
okay.
that's not
Okay.
as bad as people think. No, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's off a little bit. So then you're saying, I see now. You're saying percentage of drives they scored on, which would be that's more than 33% every time they get the ball. 1 out of every 3 times they score something.
Yes.
On, and then when they do cross the 40, they've missed on 8 out of the 34, which is a pretty high clip. I think that's
Yes.
25% of the times. I'd have to go back to see my numbers of last year, but 25% of the times
not good.
they are not scoring when they any points.
Right.
Yeah,
And
that's
then-
too much in my opinion, and I think that just ticks. But a little different. Say it's 30 out of 34, right? Now you start to wonder: do you beat Cleveland? Do you beat Miami?
Yep.
Right now you're not going to beat Buffalo and Chicago probably in this, but do you beat Houston?
Yeah.
It's like let's actually see it. You've got the games listed here. So those games would have been Miami. Am I going to do this right? Yeah. 4 out of 11, 5 out of 9. Let's go to Houston. 5 out of 11. Those are the drives. 5 out of 7 across the 40. So they missed 2 opportunities. They lost by
4 points.
4. Miami, they got across the 40 11 times.
I don't believe that's accurate. That's total.
Oh,
drives
that's
on
Indy.
the left.
That's Indy.
Yes, Indy was unbelievable.
Indy, okay. I see what you're saying. But yeah, so this can be very confusing. But the bottom line is that 26 out of 34 I feel like should be better. 25% of the time the Jags are getting across the 40-yard line right now and not scoring any points.
And then the biggest number is you've gotten to the red zone. You've come up empty, 0 points 6 times when you've gotten inside the 20.
Wow.
Yikes.
And those are
0.
Well,
yeah, 0 points, not touchdowns. You've been in the red zone 6 times and you haven't scored
missed
any
field
points.
goals, not going for, or failing on 4th down.
That's 1 missed field goal and 5 turnover on downs.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah.
And that's probably
That's
2 or
not
3
good
ball
enough.
games.
That's too much. Like, see, this is where I do say Doug. This is Doug. Like, it didn't hurt him the other day because they ended up winning the game. But this is where I'll go back to the Raiders conversation from a couple of years ago. Doug's got to help them out in these categories. Like, he's got to know this and say, okay, listen, I'm an aggressive guy. I have confidence in my guy. See, the players love it because it's like confidence in my team to get it done. But you've also got to be like, we're not good at it. Like, we're not good at it. You have got to admit what you're not good at. Even if you think you should be good at it, you have to admit that you're not until you are. And that should be like 1 or 2, not 6, that number. You can't go to the red zone that many times and come up empty in the National Football League. It's one thing that we can complain about what the Chargers did. They only kicked field goals. They went 5 times to the red zone. They kicked field goals. That's a problem too.
Yes.
But what's even worse about that is going 5 times and getting points, only 3 of them or something. And that's right now what the Jags are doing. Mm-hmm. The only thing you don't have here, Hamby, I think, is how many times were they in the red zone this year? So is that 6 out of what?
I didn't calculate.
Which would be, well, I'll look into that because that's a fascinating number. How many times they're not scoring at all. All right, good job with the math.
Whew,
I
man.
know. Take a breath.
Oh, I'm back. Okay, sorry, everybody.
I think I like those deep dives, and I also think they do tell a story. And it took until the end probably to get to the real story there, which is you can't leave points on the board that much in the National Football League.
Correct.
You just can't, because most every game is going to be a 1-possession game. Mm-hmm. So you gotta put points up when you can. The This is like a baseball team that like is just very bad with scoring a runner from third with less than 2 outs.
Yeah, this is having guys on second and third with 1 out and
scoring nothing.
And leaving 13 guys on base.
Yeah, so it's not good. All right, there's been a question. Luke had a question last couple of days. One on Twitter I saw earlier, and then also even during the show today. He's kind of wondering about the LSU receivers on Brian Thomas Jr. Like,
is there something to be said for him?
Yeah, why? Has anybody figured out the why on the receivers coming out of LSU? Is it just because? I mean, they've had different coaching changes and things like that. This isn't just a run on the same coaches, going all the way back to probably Odell Beckham and before that.
You want to read his comment?
Yeah, if you want. You got it.
Yeah, he says, curious if you would talk about whether or not LSU is onto something when it comes to producing NFL superstar wideouts. Is it just a coincidence? Landry, Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Odell, now BTJ. Neighbors also. That's a lot of good. 2 current great, 1 rookie potential, 1 great for a period of time.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, first of all, here's the one thing. Alabama, right, has produced a bunch of receivers now too.
Mm-hmm.
LSU, Ohio State. Those are 3 schools that if you would go back to see the number of 5-star talents that they get, they would be near the top.
Yeah.
Right? Georgia now is part of that too. I just don't know if it's strictly from the receiver position, but it is from other positions. So I think while everybody has this conversation, LSU and Florida had like the DBU conversation for a while. And the wide receiver one is just, it's a done deal. It's LSU. I mean, what they've been able to produce at that position. But I do think a lot of it is they're going to get a lot of 4 or 5-star guys.
Yeah.
And now maybe Louisiana and that area of the country, if you're tapping into a little bit of Texas, Louisiana is a very underrated state for high school football. People mention Texas, Florida, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, but they like in Georgia, but then they're in California, and they're like, oh, Louisiana. But it's very good.
Do you think it's? Because I can't go on the internet, so it's great. But I feel like Ohio State's up there with wide receivers as well.
Name them. Harrison, obviously.
Michael Thomas would be with Odell Beckham Jr., Garrett Wilson. I feel like I'm missing one. And because, like I said, I don't have the internet.
They probably are.
But can we just compare like the top? I don't know.
Michael Thomas.
Yeah, I said
Curtis
him.
Samuel.
Oh, Curtis Samuel's all right.
Yeah, but even the ones we're saying, like Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Chris Olave.
Olave.
Well, that was pretty good.
Terry McLaurin. Noah Brown.
Scary Terry, man.
I mean, that's great right there.
So I think
McLaurin's the best one out of all of them right now. I mean, Garrett Wilson we can talk about, but he's still got a lot more to go until we figure out if he's like.
I mean, he was rookie of the year though.
I mean, Olave and Marvin Harrison are right there. What will be?
They may have more actually. Now, like LSU may have like the more like the most talented ones, but in terms of like quantity, it might be Ohio State.
Yeah, maybe you're right. But again, I don't think I'm surprised. I guess my answer to that is strictly go look at who has had the 4 and 5 stars over the last 15 years.
Yeah,
I mean, that's really more it. You're getting the talented guys. There's a more chance of those talented guys coming out. It is something. Now, LSU is elite. Like those Ohio State guys, some of them are good. Some of them might be on the verge of elite. Some might get to elite. It's like you already know all these guys have been elite at times in their career or already are.
Sure, yeah.
Which is fascinating. Mm-hmm. And maybe they do develop well. But again, I think the development part of that is a little interesting because they've had coaching changes over this time span going all the way back to the Beckhams and others. So
USC is actually really good as well.
Well, which would make sense too.
Drake London,
historically, it's very good.
Amon-Ra, Robert Woods, Michael Pittman, Juju, Jordan Addison.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. Like, I would take Ohio State and LSU over that still, but I mean, it's decent.
But it makes
Aguilar.
sense. But again, USC, another place where you're getting 5 stars.
Yeah.
Right? And 4 stars. And that's a flashy position, right? You're getting those guys. You're getting the flashy guys, too. I mean, Alabama has really come on in this conversation. Mm-hmm. Why? Because before it didn't seem like they were flashy, but then they got the quarterbacks. They weren't just kind of game managing. They changed, right? Yeah. So they went from run the football, kill you in the trenches, play defense, get the quarterback that can manage the game, and then they said, oh, wait a minute, no, we got to go score. And once they decided we got to go score, they got all the receivers too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That would be like a good team. This is more your speed, even though you're like an old soul, but like a good like TikTok game where like you take like, all right, go ahead and give me the LSU, like Go and give me the LSU's wide receivers. Go ahead and give me an offensive line. Alabama's offensive line.
Or
go
Iowa.
Ahead or Iowa's offensive line. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead and give me whatever.
Georgia's tight ends.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Georgia's linebackers.
Yeah, that'd be a good exercise. We should do that sometime. We should have like a draft, guys, where we have to draft like schools.
They probably have done it if we just Google it somewhere.
Okay. Hamby?
With all those content monsters out there.
All right, Hamby, go ahead.
But I think, listen, this brings us back to Brian Thomas Jr. Mm-hmm. I said this a little bit today. I think Hamby tweeted something out from our conversation yesterday. This is a fun conversation. I mean, the Jags you can't have fun conversations all the time around the Jags. It's been disappointing the last year, quite frankly, now, if you go back on the calendar. But this is a cool conversation to have about Brian Thomas every day. There's an angle to take on Brian Thomas Jr. and what he's doing. Now, will he continue to do it? That's going to be the next phase of this. How much more can he do? Like, he hasn't had this crazy game yet. He hadn't had a monster game.
Sure.
I mean, he did have the one 100-yard game so far? Is that
what
right?
did he have the last game?
He had 89.
89, okay.
5 for 89.
Okay.
But he's had like these big explosive plays, and I think he had the one against Indianapolis might have been, was the 100-yard game. So, I mean, there's more out there, and I think some other people have said this, and this is easy to say about everybody probably across the league.
He had 94 against Browns. Sorry for cutting you off. He had 94 against Cleveland. That's his second most.
Okay. And I think there are like 3 plays in my mind like, ooh, that should have been had. Right? The Houston game for a touchdown. He dropped a touchdown against Chicago. I think the throw was at Chicago where he underthrows him against the linebacker.
Yes.
Right? So, and that wouldn't have been a touchdown, by the way. The safety was coming over. But still, there are plays in your mind that are like, okay, these are kind of elementary plays. Mm-hmm. Now, they are offset a little bit by the play that happened the other day. That was not an elementary play. And neither was the back of the end zone play. So that's my point. They do even out. Not every play is going to work out. But, man, he's been so good. And I'm just interested to see how much better he is going to get. Like, is he going to have a monster game? When I was doing these numbers for Keenan McCardell and even Allen Robinson and Jimmy, comparing some of them. I mean, Jimmy had like the 290-yard game against Baltimore early in the season. So it's like, whoa, like that really skews the numbers. And the other games were good too. But I think Allen Robinson had a game like that. I think he had like 165 or something. Can you get one of those games where it's a 2-touchdown performance with 8 catches for 160? Because those are the kind of games the Jeffersons had and other, like a Jamar Chase has had.
Yeah.
I guess that would get him into that category a little bit. Can you have like that kind of game, that performance? I don't know if he needs it, but it would be nice to see it.
It'd be great to see it. I mean, but I think we already know, like, whether you get that or not, we know what we have with Brian Thomas
That's
Jr.
True.
And we know we have a one. Yeah, you don't need to see it because, once again, I think that the ball is going to be distributed a lot. And I think it begs the question now. I remember when we did like this exercise where, and I forgot who even wrote it up, but like they were ranking the Jaguars skill receiver, like their skill players.
Okay.
It wasn't like Jackson like number 28 or something. It was like the bottom of the list. And we all had an issue with that because it's like, well, how can you put Christian Kirk with that? And Brian Thomas Jr. at the time was unproven. In retrospect now, hindsight, do you think they have a top 12 skill player room yet or not? I mean, I get like Gabe Davis kind of brings it down a little bit. Well, but like I'm saying, with Evan Ingram's healthy,
with injuries to other teams,
I was going to say,
it's almost by default. I'd still put us in the top 10. At 10, I'd probably put us at 10.
Yeah. I mean, well, here's the deal: the way, like you say, at the beginning of the year, the way you would frame this versus injuries and how things have turned out. Like after week 3, it'd be like, no way, because the offensive line wasn't playing any good. Well, now you're like, this offensive line's playing as good over the 4-game stretch as probably anybody in the National Football League. I mean, there have been 2 games in the last 3 weeks where Trevor Lawrence wasn't touched, and they ran the football. I mean, that's as good as you can do. Yeah. So, and I don't think they were an eyesore, by the way, against Chicago, who's a good defense. I think they weren't great, but I don't think they were like pitiful either. So they have really 2 great ones and 1 okay one. But yeah, I think you'd have to argue it. I mean, Ingram is. I just think Ingram's unguardable. Now, he's not going to beat you for 40, but I think you can just throw it to Ingram every time. That's what kind of got me going about the 3rd and 5 play. They had got Ingram for 8 and then 12, and it's like, well, wait, go back.
Yeah.
Unless there's a defense doing something that we just didn't see, right?
Yeah,
And maybe, or I didn't see because I don't see that. Maybe they're starting to do some things to offset him. But I mean, Kirk, pick your poison. It's about Press Taylor and really Trevor Lawrence finding the right guy, because I just don't think you can match up with everything they have. They have an answer for something.
Yeah.
The only thing you don't have an answer for is pressure, right? If you don't, but right now, the way their offensive line is, we're not talking about that. Like, Trevor is playing confident football because he trusts those guys, which is really cool to see. We were wondering if we'd get here. They're going to need a lot more of that, obviously, on Sunday. Just to finish up this conversation, Luke says it would be interesting to do a target share comparison with the top receivers. I'd like to see what percentage Brian Thomas Jr. has compared to the other top receivers in the league. And, well, listen, one thing I did do there, and if you go back to my tweet about Jimmy Smith and everybody else through the first 7 games, think about the Jags of the late 90s. They had a lot of weapons, right? Well, the Jags are like that a little bit. I'm not telling you they're as good. I'm just saying they have a lot of answers to what we're saying on offense. You can't just feed one guy the football. I don't think you can do it. This isn't Justin Jefferson and Malik Neighbors, where there are not a lot of other answers.
Sure.
Now you can. I'm not telling you can't get more, but there are a lot of people that are like, why can't you throw the football more? Why only 5 targets? Well, they had 5 targets and also 2 carries for him. So they had 7 plays for him. And remember, they ran the ball 40 times. So 5 out of the 20 passes went to him. That's 25%. I don't know if that's normal or not. Can you get that to 30%? Maybe. So you throw it one more time and he's at 30%. But again, Ingram's unguardable at times. Well, he only had 3 targets. I could have made the case Evan Ingram should have had 7.
True.
So I think that's a delicate dance to do as a play caller. And we know that Kirk, we went through this on Jags Report Live the other night. That Kirk play was designed for him. And oh man, I went back and looked at that replay. He almost got that left foot down.
I know, it's close.
I think he was almost like, you almost could have challenged it. So close. I mean, we're talking about a frame of video away from securing that football and the toe being down. That's how close it was. But that was strictly designed for him.
Yeah.
To that play, because Kirk only had 1 catch and 3 targets, and that was one of them.
Yep.
It was almost 2 for 3 with a touchdown to him, and they were big plays. So I think that's a delicate deal, especially in a game where you only throw it 20 times. The Jags don't want to throw it 40 times. They want to throw it probably about 30. I would think most days are going to come between 28 and 32. So how much can you possibly give a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. in this offense to keep him very productive when you do get him the ball? See, the better thing I have right now going for the Jags the last couple of weeks is Evan Ingram has been throwing the ball 13 times. He's caught it 13 times.
Yeah.
Brian Thomas Jr. was throwing the ball 5 times last week. He caught it 5 times.
Yeah, but the beauty, though, it's the Deshaun Jackson effect. Evan Ingram needs 8
targets,
catches to be productive. Brian Thomas Jr. needs like literally 3 catches to be productive.
He can change the game.
That's the difference.
That's a great point. That's what makes him so dynamic, right? That's a really good call. Like you could get Jamar Chase might have a day where he's got 4 catches, but it's for 108 yards.
And obviously Jefferson's kind of the same way as well.
That's a really good point, which is cool. Like that is what's so different. That's the reality of what we're seeing here in Jacksonville, which we really haven't seen since probably Jimmy Smith.
No, it means everything. And not every wide receiver is built like that. Like Cooper Kupp needs 10 receptions to be productive. Amon-Ra St. Brown needs 8, 9 catches, I think, to be productive. Like it's a beautiful thing when, and I still say you have to force feed Brian Thomas Jr. because I feel like he's that talented, but you don't have to give him the 10 targets. You don't have to give him the 8 receptions. Give him 4 receptions and watch one of them be a 70-yard touchdown. Yeah. You're good to go.
Yeah, very good. Let's take a time out. We'll come back. Brent Austen Show, and got a couple of things to hit on as well. Keep it alive in the chat. You can always chat with us on Twitter and on YouTube and Facebook, too. You can listen to us on Twitch as well, and don't forget the podcast. Each and every day, we put the podcast up at 1:30 and always on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. The Packers come to town. They are really a good football team. They know how to win. They know how to score. What about Jordan Love? Is he that dangerous of a player? Is he a top 10 player? Is he an elite quarterback in the National Football League? Do we know that? Is that what's coming to Jacksonville on Sunday? We'll talk about it next. In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jax team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
People helping people is at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From 1954 to 2024, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. That commitment includes a partnership with the Action Sports Jax 24/7 team as the presenting sponsor of all Armada men's and women's broadcasts this summer. Action Sports Jax and Alive Credit Union, a partnership that just makes sense when it comes to covering Northeast Florida. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of our first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579. Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices her pitching. Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit Bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com. Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show. Brent is going to be out for a second, maybe getting some coffee, maybe getting something for his sinuses. I really have no idea. But he did leave a good question before he left. We went to break, a little teaser, if you will. And it's under the topic of Jordan Love. Now, I've been on record many times saying I wish the Green Bay Packers fans would even know what a bad quarterback looks like. You have to go back to maybe Dan the Magic Man Mikowski, and I wasn't around for that. I only hear stories. I only hear stories of what Dan Mikowski was like. But you go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to now one of the highest paid quarterbacks in Jordan Love as well. It's crazy how lucky they've been in terms of getting that quarterback, because you know how I feel about it. I feel like every single team should have to go through at least a couple years of, quarterback purgatory, let's call it. Or
Blaine Gabbert.
Exactly. You gotta have your Blaine Gabberts. Gotta have your Chad Henneys. Gotta have, there's Blake Bortles was fun for a little bit, but every team's got to go through it, Hamby. That quarterback purgatory. Now, some would say in Cleveland it's quarterback hell, and I'm not wishing that on any single franchise, but you got to go through a quarterback purgatory. The Green Bay Packers have not found themselves in that in a while, but it leads to the question. Love, you believer, Hamby? Are we talking top 10? Are we talking top 5 this season? Second right now, I believe, in touchdown passes. Where are you on Jordan Love? Welcome back, Brent.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, very high on Love. I think entering the season, I think most of the conversation surrounding the young quarterbacks was you're either a Stroud guy or a Jordan Love guy, and that was kind of the debate. And so obviously you can be both. You're allowed to be both. But that was a conversation. I think Love is outdueled so far. I mean, obviously he missed a couple games, and he's still right at the top of touchdown passes, which kind of should tell you all you need to know. He did throw kind of two pretty bad picks against Houston last week. I was watching that game since the Jags were already over. So it's kind of the same. It seems like he's carbon copying what every Packer quarterback has been for the last 20 years. Favre, Rodgers, they're going to throw the ball up and down the field. Mm-hmm. It looks beautiful coming out of their hand, and they're going to be the guy or one of the top guys that you want at the end of the ball game if you're down 4 or 6 to go win you the game. They might throw a couple picks along the way, but you're going to take that every time because you trust them overall, and they're a game winner.
Yeah, I think that's what they did the other day, too, at least just watching on my phone. I wasn't watching the game, but it's okay, Houston answers, then you go down and answer, right? I mean, and that's still it's not, I would say right now, that's one of the things that's even hampering a little bit Trevor. It's you don't fully expect that to happen. Right. And I don't know if it's Trevor or just the Jags. I just think their offense doesn't feel clutch yet, where you just can go score at will. I mean, and by the way, Green Bay didn't score at will. It was a 24-22 game. Yeah. It wasn't like it was a 35-31 game, which is a huge difference in terms of the game flow. But it does feel like he's making those plays. And then the performance in the postseason was huge. So where are you at with him? I mean, do you think he's elite? Is their offense? See, LaFleur doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion. I think he's done a very, very good job with that football team, and I don't think people talk about him as a very, very good coach enough.
Sure, and Green Bay's always been a team with some pretty solid offensive lines to help take care of their quarterback. I mean, I look at it like this. When you're throwing the ball to Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, and Christian Watson, and, you have some pretty good stats if you're Jordan Love, I think you already have the capabilities to elevate the guys around you. Yeah. And maybe these guys are great players. I remember, this is back in the old show, the dude from Kentucky, I can't remember his name. He was the biggest Christian Watson fan ever, and he called me crazy for not wanting him in the first, second round. And I said, I think he's okay, but I'm not going to go above and beyond. Well, he's just okay. And whoever that guy was, I hope you're listening. I don't think he is because he would be talking. He's just okay. Okay? He's not what what you thought he was going to be, this come in the league, be the next, Jamar Chase and everything. He's just okay. And I think when you have a guy who can elevate the guys around him, whether it's Romeo Doubs, I think Romeo Doubs can, could find a nice role here for years to come, and Jaden Reed, and then their tight end, Kraft Mac Running and Cheese, which fits right in with Green Bay.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the result of a quarterback who elevates the guys around him. And obviously, when you have the run game with Josh Jacobs, too, that helps. But I think it goes to say how good Jordan Love really is.
Like, if you talk about San Francisco, right, loaded with talent, but a lot of people still give a lot of love to Shanahan, right, and not as much to Purdy. Or they say, well, if he was somewhere else, it wouldn't be like this because of Shanahan. And I kind of wonder if Love's a little bit in that to a degree. Be great in Indianapolis right now. Like, I don't know. I don't. And by the way, I'm not calling him a system guy. I think he's a good player. I just don't know if we're talking, is he an elite player? Yeah. And I don't know if he's fully there yet or if we just haven't seen enough. There might be just too small of a sample size still on him.
No, but like I think with Purdy, though, you make we need to keep in mind health now, but when everyone's healthy, well, you're throwing to George Kittle.
Well, that's part of it.
You're throwing to Debo. You're throwing to Aiyuk. You're handing the ball off to Christian McCaffrey once again when everyone's healthy. With Green Bay, I mean, okay, it's a product of the system, but like, what does the system consist of? Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Kraft Macaroni and Cheese, and Jayden Reed? Okay.
Yeah.
You know? So I think he is a pretty
Josh
talented.
Jacobs, too. I mean,
Josh Jacobs, sure.
That's something to work with there. And they've put him in a good spot. This is what I always say, man. Let's just take the two quarterbacks. Let's take the two quarterbacks in this game. Mm-hmm. Trevor Lawrence has not always been put in a good position, but he also has been put in a good position here in Jacksonville. Like, this is the best the Jags have done around a young quarterback ever. Like, hands down ever. Now, he's still had issues. Like, their offensive line hasn't been as good at times, even though they invested in it, wasn't as good as he wanted it to be at times. We knew last year, we weren't doing the show last year, but we knew last year at times, we said, if this offensive line does not get it together, he's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
He got hurt 4 times in the last 6 games. But we knew it. It wasn't good enough. Well, now it's a little better, but they've obviously, weapon-wise, have been able to put things around him. They add to it with Brian Thomas Jr. this year. They continue to add to it, not with Justin Etienne, but also with Tank Bigsby, and I was critical of that move in the 3rd round. So they have given him things now to be successful, and now you get the good play of the offensive line as well. And I would say this. They gave him Doug. Like, I think Doug, to be around Trevor, was a positive thing. Like, I know people are down on Doug, but I think that's been a very positive thing. Well, you look at what they've done for Jordan Love. Well, they sat him. He doesn't like that, of course. Nobody likes that. But they sat him for the amount of time where nobody is allowed to sit for anymore. As they put him in a situation where we're going to do what we did with Aaron Rodgers, and look how it worked. I think Matt LaFleur has been very good. I think the question still exists in Green Bay is, are you going to put more talent around him? But their offensive line has been pretty good. So, like, he can trust things. He can just operate. He can do what you need to do. And I think in those respects, they've set him up for a lot of success in his career.
If you guys are going to start a team at the quarterback, you taking Trevor, you taking Jordan Love? All right, everybody. It's been a good show. I was going to say anything? No one's going to chime in?
So here's the thing.
It's really hard for me to answer.
I asked the question.
Can we be unbiased?
No, it's not a bias thing.
Okay.
I just don't know. I can't sit here and tell you I've watched enough Jordan Love. I've seen him time to time in primetime games. I don't know in and out. Like, I don't know how many Packers games. You watch probably a lot more Packers games.
Yeah.
And I don't know Sundays how many Packers games are on that people are watching. I don't have a great feel for that. Of course, so I see all the negative sides of Trevor, too, that we've seen. So it's a totally different landscape.
Okay.
If you wanted to ask me about, like, Jordan Love or C.J. Stroud, I'd have the same comparative notes in terms of the amount of times I've seen them play or something like that, you know? I would say most people would say Jordan Love, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
so here's
90%.
So here's why I lean a little towards Jordan Love. Sorry, Trevor. Still love you, man. But I think with Jordan Love, in the first year that he was a starter, he played the whole season, he willed his team with some pretty mediocre players to a playoff run when nobody expected him to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the stats say, but like that season, I feel like it was probably a better season than Trevor Lawrence has ever had. Now, once again, I get a lot goes into that, and it's not about stats and everything, the EPA and all that, but I think stat-wise, I think Jordan Love's had the best season, and that season came when he literally started for his first full season.
Yeah. What do you say, Hamby? What do you think?
I don't want to answer.
So it'd be low. Yeah, listen, I think 90% of people
It's
would
hard.
say
I mean,
love for those reasons.
I think you make
just
arguments
don't
for both.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you can because I don't think you have the negative side of love. Like, what's been the negative side of love? The sample still isn't very big, right?
8 interceptions though this year.
Is he up to 8?
He's got
Wow.
8 this year.
Wow, that's not great. But Trevor's done that too. You know, I mean, so there's not enough in these kind of conversations. If we're being completely honest, there's not enough to go from a statistic standpoint or an even eyeball standpoint for Trevor, because on Trevor, you know the good and the bad. That we've witnessed good and bad. We have under Urban all the way to the great run in the playoff game, which was unbelievable. And so I think that it's hard. It's a hard thing to say when you don't really have as much negative built up about love. There's just not enough to grasp at other than an 8 interception type thing right now. So I think most people would pick love. I also would kind of spin this at times and say, okay, if Trevor's in Green Bay, what does he look like? Like, I think that may be more of a fair question, and I think he flourishes there too, because I'm a big Trevor fan. I think he's has the chance to be an elite quarterback, much like Jordan Love does. Yeah. I think. Listen, here's another one. Stroud, we're coming into the year saying he is miles ahead of Trevor.
Yes.
I don't think anybody's saying that right now.
Right.
I don't think anybody's saying that. I mean,
you
can still pick Stroud. That's okay.
I still think Stroud's the better quarterback, but I don't think it's what people are talking about Stroud being an MVP possibly.
Yeah,
and I don't think we're to that point.
I don't
he's
think
looked
so.
incredibly mid this year at times.
He's
like
looked
average.
He's looked okay. Now, is that a product of them?
Right.
Is that a product of Collins being out? A product of some of the adversity that hit at times Trevor Lawrence?
And they're running the football a bit more.
I mean, it helps. We got Joe Mixon's having a little bit of a.
Well, you would think though that would open him up to be even better. But listen, I watched Stroud against the Jags, and he made some really good plays. Like, I mean, that's what I mean. You got to watch it. Like, he did some things in that game that they probably shouldn't have allowed him to do, but he was elite at times.
He looked like the pocket presence looked like a 10-year veteran. Sometimes
he's almost got Lamar without the speed and electricity in him in terms of the pocket, or even Mahomes a little bit. Yeah, Mahomes is a better example there. So there's stuff. But I would say the same thing about Stroud that I would say about Love. The sample is so small that you haven't seen enough of the negative. You know what I mean? Like, you just haven't seen. We have 4 years of good and bad and like this elevator ride with Trevor. And some of that's circumstantial. Some of that's, by the way, Trevor. Mm-hmm. I mean, in that game against Houston.
On Trevor
played terrible, quite frankly, by the standard that he should be playing at. And cost him the football game because he didn't make a few throws. And Stroud did what he did down the stretch of that game to win the game. Mm-hmm. So, again, I'm not telling you can't have that. I just think the gap coming in, a lot of people were like, whoa, this ain't even close. And I think we're starting to see, like in 4 of these games this year, that Trevor, again, he shows you why not so fast, right? Yeah. I mean, you start projecting this thing out, it could be a great battle for years to come. The Jags just got to get their crap together.
Yeah.
Like, they really need to get this thing together so we can measure that up in wins and losses. Because right now you can't measure it up in wins and losses even against Houston. And that's really been the problem with Trevor, is that they haven't won enough. Of course. And especially the last year, they're not winning enough, which is still mind-boggling to me because he's like such an ultimate winner. But you've got to win football games as a quarterback, and he ain't winning enough right now.
Yeah, there's not a lot of, maybe none, elite quarterbacks out there that don't win a lot of, like you can't name one quarterback who was like, well, this guy was elite, but he's on a bad team, so he didn't win a lot of games. Like, name me one.
No, listen, we've had these conversations with like a Kyler Murray. That's why everybody's still lukewarm on Kyler Murray. And yeah, he's electric. He's fun. Mm-hmm. There's some stuff that was wow, but they don't win enough games. Like, so you can't put him in these kind of categories. I think Kyler has a little bit of what Trevor has right now, totally different way. Mm-hmm. But I think you got to win more games, and you can't be like all over the map. I mean, I would say this, like your bad has got to creep up closer to
a B minus.
Yeah, right. Like, your bad can't be down here.
Yeah. And
the bad against Houston and that stretch of football, really, Cleveland and Houston game was just not good enough for an elite quarterback standard. Mm-hmm. And that's why you still have some of these conversations. But I'll tell you what, and I said this week, the play of the last 3 weeks is elite. Like he is throwing the ball at an elite level right now, and I say that with confidence, and I think it backs it up. Now, can he keep it up?
Yep.
And can they win? Hey, they have won 2 out of the last 3 because he's throwing it at an elite level. There's one other element here, guys, like to this, and where I don't know this about Stroud, I don't know this about Love, and I don't know really, well, I do know more about this with Trevor. This is why I think it's always a hard comparison, is how is he doing in the other stuff? Commanding the offense, getting to the right plays. Like, this is where I think LaFleur comes in for Love.
Okay.
I think LaFleur and the Shanahans and maybe even Slowick in Houston, are they doing a better job for their guy? There's a lot of conversation. I don't know the X's and O's enough to know, but if you want to read Twitter and you read the critics, they'll criticize what Press and Doug have done offensively in some of those stretches around Trevor. They think they could set him up to be even better, and he's actually overcoming them at times. I'm not telling you I believe that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there are people that some will say that or believe that. You don't get that question from Slowick or LaFleur, or I feel like I see any of that kind of stuff with the Shanahans of the world.
You see that there's a lot more cohesiveness there.
Yeah.
As opposed to Trevor, where it's like, all right, kill. We're going to run the football. By the way, I'm not, and Green Bay fans, hope you're not listening, or LaFleur's probably not listening, but like, if you hear kill,
Run.
it's gonna be probably a zone run. It's gonna be up the middle. Just saying, like,
Is that what happens most of the time?
Hey, Hamby, give me the stats when Trevor Lawrence goes kill, if it's gonna be an inside run or not. I would love to know those stats.
Every team's got tendencies. Right. When Beck does it at Georgia, they run tunnel screen almost every time.
Because obviously you're at the game, Brent, so you don't hear it. But like, yeah, so he'll scream it.
He'll scream kill while he's doing the cross thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Because Bigsby did it last
I mean,
I don't know, though, guys.
If I'm Green Bay, if I see this, kill, guess what? We're running goal line. Good luck. You're not passing the football.
Well, is it? Can you get a serious question here? Can you get back into defense? Because he's usually doing that with about 5 seconds to go on the clock, right, or 6 seconds to go on the clock to get you quickly to the run play.
Sure.
Can you adjust fast enough on the defense?
I mean, no. Schematically, you can't. But mentally, if you're a linebacker, it's like, okay, I'm pretty sure I can probably cheat down a little more in my hole, as opposed to like, all right, I got to read. Is it play action? Like, no, it'll be a run.
Yeah, difference. But if obviously, correct me if I'm wrong. Difference between a safety having it being backpedaling as soon as the ball snapped, or coming downhill full speed as soon as the ball snapped, because he
nailed it.
Individually, he doesn't have to communicate with anybody else. He's just there because he's seen it.
Correct.
I would like to know. That's actually a cool. That's a good observation, and I wonder if it's a feel thing or a reality thing. What you're saying, like if he does go to kill to run.
Oh,
all the time.
No, I think it's a fact.
Is it?
Yeah. Like, I mean, once again, I don't know the percentages.
I haven't caught that. But I'm
because I mean,
he does it like every play.
Everybody's got tendencies.
He's doing that at the line of scrimmage, like almost 2 out of every 3 plays.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure like what the percentages are, but I mean, it'll be something I'll be able to watch because I'll be in Kentucky. But for those of you watching at home, we can play along here. Every time you hear kill, watch if it's gonna be a run or not. And we'll keep track of how many times they do it. Like, this is the thing. I would like to see, like, sometimes week in and week out. Like, this is what Manning did. Manning had Omaha, obviously, but that was more of just like the call. But like, usually the way that offenses work is every single week will be something different, or it'll be like a counter where, for instance, if Trevor goes kill this week, it's gonna be run, but then it'll be like a play action pass. Like, they set it up. But for like the past 3 weeks, I feel like when he's gone kill, it's been the same thing.
Interesting. And they're gonna have to break away from that tendency. Like, I feel like Doug talks about that quite a bit, whether it's on a mic or not. Like, he'll talk about the tendency. That's part of their offense. Mm-hmm. In fact, a lot of people would say that's part of the reason why they don't have an identity, is because their offense is reactionary to what the defense is presenting. Well, that's what they do. They're trying to be. It's much like.
Yeah, but that you have to.
Yeah, no, that's you kind of have to, because like this is why motion is a thing, right? Because sometimes you have to see, okay, is this defense going to be in zone coverage? Or are they in man coverage? Are they in man coverage? All right, I'm going to go over here. If it's zone coverage, all right, well, let's go with an option, and I'm going to like have you hunker down right there between zone coverage. Like, a lot of the offense sometimes is taking what the defense gives you.
Yeah. The which by the way is not a bad thing.
No,
I think in many respects. Christian Kirk told us something interesting about the Patriots. He used to bring this up a lot. Okay. The Patriots are the one defense that, like, every week they do something different.
Yeah.
Well, Mayo's continued that. Mm-hmm. So they are a very hard. They're not a tendency team, because they will rip up the game plan. Like, so he took that from Belichick. It's a very hard thing to do, right?
It's a very hard thing to do because it leaves you open to big plays.
Yeah.
I mean, like
miscommunications.
And that's a great question. Like, if I was a coordinator, I'm not sure which one I would lean. It depends who the players I have. If I have players who can handle it, then obviously I would tailor make a scheme per a game basis. If I have more of a younger team or a team that maybe gives up big plays every once in a while, then I'm just going to say, you know what, if everyone does their job correctly, we have a chance to win, and I would keep it very vanilla. I mean, I played with coordinators. I played with Mel Tucker, who was very vanilla. 4-3 defense. Defensive ends had it pretty made. Just, hey, either a 7 technique or a wide 5. That's all you got to know. And every once in a while, maybe you get a blitz or drop back into coverage, but very basic. And then I played with Bob Sutton in Kansas City, where it was like everybody had their own blitz package. Like Tamba Ali, Justin Houston, like we had Nittany. So Nittany was essentially, because Tamba went to Penn State,
yeah.
Nittany was a package that featured Tamba Ali getting him the pass rushes that he wanted. Now, just to kind of put this to the layman's terms, when they would call Nittany had 5 different blitzes that we had to memorize on the defensive line.
Wow.
Like, so not it was a package. It wasn't one. It wasn't okay. Nittany. Okay, Tamba, you're gonna blitz. You're gonna stand up over here, do like a tech stunt. Also, you have to drop back into coverage. No, we're gonna call Nittany, and then we're gonna call Nittany 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you got to know what those Nittany's are as well.
Seems like you enjoyed that.
Well, playing 3 technique. No, Brent, it was an absolute nightmare.
All right, I got 2.
But I ate a lot of barbecue.
Guys, let's take a break. I want to kind of ask you about 2 things. One, Christian Kirk told something on Jags Report Live the other night I thought was interesting. And the other one is you just said something that sparked. You've seen the play now. Well, you saw the play, the JaMychal Hasty play, right? And which got a lot of criticism. I just want to ask you a little bit about that, because if you go back and watch, and if you need to go back and watch it, it's like, I mean, Joshua runs across the field on it, but then Trayvon after the game is the one that took the blame for it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask you a little bit about that play, a little X's and O's. We got some more. Hey, NBA happened last night.
Really cool moment, by the way. We'll talk about it next. But
All right.
I owe people an apology.
Oh, really?
I do.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. We haven't broken out the apology card in a while.
Just a publicity stunt. I'm not buying it.
Hey, we have. I do want to make a programming note here. See, Jags Social Friday 7 o'clock. I think that is being moved up to 7:30 on Thursday, following Jaguars All Access, because of World Series game number 1 on Fox 30. So we do have the World Series coming up on Friday. Highly rated. I did catch up with Travis Chapman, Yankees first baseman coach, and so we'll hear that maybe even today, but it might be tomorrow or Friday. But we got it before Game 1 takes place between the Dodgers and the Yankees. And rest in peace, Fernando Valenzuela, passed away at the age of 63. That's very young, but what a great pitcher for the Dodgers. We'll be right back. Nobody but Nimnicht. Our family has purchased 6 vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Who gives you top dollar for your trade? Nobody but Nimnicht. Save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%. You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer. You can schedule a test drive at NimnichtBuickGMC.com, and while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnicht is there for you, even on Sundays. So, who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? The answer's simple. Nobody but Nimnicht. Your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
It's time for your Swoop Minute, and it was a playoff clinching week for the Ospreys of North Florida in both men's and women's soccer. Saturday night's 3-0 home win over Bellarmine for the men's team clinched their spot in the ASUN Championship Tournament, while the women's team clinched their spot in the ASUN Championship Tournament after a 2-0 win over Bellarmine Thursday night. The result for the women's team also increased their unbeaten streak to 8 straight matches. With a couple matches left in the regular season for both teams, the playoff tournaments will start in early November. In the pool, the UNF women's swimming team broke a school record in the 200-yard medley relay on Saturday. Katie Carlos, Victoria Torres, Kayla Daly, and Ashley Kephart posted a time of 1 minute, 44 seconds, and 4 milliseconds, beating the previous record by less than a second. And remember, you can find schedules, information, results, and more on unfospreys.com.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
New to town or always been in town? Everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martineaus get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza. Some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're going to love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code BRENT20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us. And at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jax Beach and Mandarin locations. Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Oh, Miami Dolphins finally signed a quarterback that can play, C.J. Beathard.
Really?
Like, why wouldn't they? Yeah, I mean, again, I don't get what the Dolphins have done these last few. There are quarterbacks out there, and they got guys that just literally can't play the position. If you can't throw to those two guys, I don't understand it.
This has been Brent's biggest what's grinds my gears is the Miami Dolphins backup quarterback situation.
Yeah, I think it's unbelievable. If I was a Dolphins fan,
Dolphins radio, call Brent Martineau, man, get him on the show.
It just makes no sense. Like, this is a plan that made no sense. There are guys out there that can play. I would have seriously considered trading for Mac Jones right away, knowing that Tua was going to be out, and I have this team. I have $60 million invested in my receivers, and you got a guy throwing a bag of nickels basically to him.
Tyreek Hill had one catch last week.
But, I mean, so I saw some of the throws. I mean, they're like 4 yards out of bounds.
Well, did you see the sidelines, too? It seems like they're past the point of carrying now. On the Dolphins.
Well, and that's the part. See, that's the other thing I would have noticed if I was them, because Tyreek can be that way. You've got that kind of team. You've got Jalen. You've got Tyreek. You've got personalities where it's like, what the, you know? And so I would have You've got to know that.
Yeah, keep him happy.
You've got to know that, man. Like, there were guys out there that you could have. Now, Beathard, did he just clear? Or I thought he got signed by somebody else recently. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe he just had a workout because he was injured. So maybe he just cleared things and is able to get back now because they had put him on the reserve injured list coming out of camp. But, like, Beathard can throw those guys the football.
Yeah.
I think. We'll find out. But I know this. This is one other tricky part. You've got to know that that offense is tricky because of all the motions, but you could dumb it down. You could dumb it down for somebody. I seriously, if I were the Dolphins, and maybe they tried, like Mac Jones to me would have been like, come on down. Mm-hmm. Get us through the next 6-7 games.
This got me on a topic real quick. You know, people kind of have an issue with Tyreek Hill, like, you know, acting on the sidelines, you know, like acting a little entitled and stuff, but I always feel like when you're one of the best wide receivers in the league, like I want you to have that attitude. Like, I want the ball. Like, feed me the ball some more. Jefferson had the same thing. I forgot. This is like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I was watching the Vikings game, and they didn't throw to him for like a bit, and he was getting pissed. You saw it with Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
The Ravens game, he was getting pissed. Like, I want that. Let me ask you this then: with Brian Thomas Jr., who's a little more, we've heard he's very quiet, very reserved. Now we've seen him, you know, 15 yards, but we've seen him for the most part be very quiet and reserved. Do you want that out of him, or would you rather, and this is obviously a couple years down the line, when it's like, you know, maybe he's only got 3 targets in going to the fourth quarter. Do you want him to kind of come out and say, like, dude, throw me the ball? Like,
yeah, I actually don't think that's his makeup, and I don't know if you evolve into that makeup. I think that's kind of who you are. He's got some dog in him, obviously. It's with the celebrations, with his play, he's got some energy there, but that's not his personality off it, and so I don't think he would go there. Now, you could always be frustrated, but I don't think it's tantrum-laden where you now see him on the sideline. I also would say, so I don't think so. Now, maybe, but yeah. I don't disagree with what you say about Tyreek. Like, this is why I never really had a major problem with Jalen. Now, you got to be careful on it. But I think if you know it, like, you know Tyreek. I've had people tell me for years, like, Tyreek, it's like, watch out, man. If things go wrong, look out, right? Yeah. But you know it. So you've got to know how to deal with it. Mm-hmm. You've got to know how to police it, if you will. Mm-hmm. And by the way, if the trade-off is getting the guy that can do anything better than anybody else, then you take
any
it,
day,
right?
Any
you take
day.
it. But I think what you have to be careful of, Austin, is something that this team ran into in the construction of the locker room back in 2018-19, coming off the 17 year, is you have too many of those guys that can be combustible. I think you can make the case right now in Jacksonville you don't have enough of those guys. Mm-hmm. Like, you maybe need a couple of those guys. And just coming off, we were saying that coming off losses, I think it's safe to say that coming off a win. You know, did you guys listen to the post game of Doug in the locker room? Your Jags put that out, Jaguars.com?
I didn't, no.
Yeah.
And you listened to it?
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to make it into something, but we probably can't play it, Habby, but if you end up getting it, could just play the audio. Like, we probably shouldn't play the video and take it off Jaguars.com, although they probably wouldn't mind since I just said their name 400 times. But the audio of that is interesting to me.
Okay.
The audio is like, hey, we told you if we just keep it together, if we do this, if we do that, you're right, blah, 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 blah. Right. I get it. Very Doug-like. It actually shows that he kept this thing together, and I applaud him for that. But then it's almost as if in his post-game he's like begging for more of it. Keep the energy that we saw in practice. Do the, like, if we do this is where we're going to be. It's a weird football team where the coach is like begging for energy. That's what struck me. I'm like, this is bizarre.
Yeah.
This is bizarre. I've never done this in 20-something years of covering the NFL, and specifically here in Jacksonville, as close as we've covered it. I've never questioned back-to-back weeks like we did in 2 and 3 for a home opener and a Monday Night Football game, the energy of the football team. Like, what are we doing? It's a home opener, and it's Monday Night Football. And then, like, applaud the idea, and you heard me say it last week a bunch, hey, this team does have energy. They do. They look like they're happy to be there. This isn't a lost football team. That's a very good sign. And then Doug kind of reinforces it so much. It's like he's like trying to get that out of this group. It's like, will you guys bring it?
Yeah.
So odd. Here's we got the audio of it. So listen, this is after the game, Jaguars.com. This is Doug in the locker room. They always put like a minute or two out. This isn't the whole speech, by the way, just from contextual purposes. But listen to see if you
Where's
hear
it from
what I
again,
hear.
Brent? One more time?
Jaguars.com.
Okay, gotcha.
Congratulations. Number one, congratulations. Okay? You got it anyway. Listen. Persistence and resiliency. What did we talk about resiliency this week, did we not? Yes. It's how you come back after having a setback. You came back and you rallied and you responded. And you responded all week. All week in practice. By the way you treated each other, by the way you practiced, the way you attacked everything, right? You had energy every single day. But now moving forward, that's what you got to do next week, right? Yeah. You can't have that letdown. That's what you can't have. That's what we have to guard against. But this is a great team effort. Offense, defense, special teams, party! We always say just try to go 1-0. We got to go 1-0. And we got to keep going 1-0. And we got to keep going 1-0. But you got to keep the same intensity and you got to keep the same energy that we had this week. Okay? And continue to love on each other. You got to continue to do that. Embrace each other. Right? That's what I saw today. Right? That's what I saw today. Great job. Great job. All right, here we go.
So like I thought for a second there until he came back to it again, I was like, Brent, you probably heard that wrong. Maybe you didn't. Maybe I got a little too dramatic there because he does say it in the middle, like about the energy, the intensity, but then he comes back to it, and that's what I remember hearing from it. It's like, I don't know. In my opinion, there's just a sense like he's begging for these guys to have fun playing the game of football. This is the second time they've gone to this well this year. Just go ahead, be a kid. You heard Trevor say, be a kid. Go have fun playing the game. You enjoy playing the game. Why is this football team not having fun playing a game?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
So, okay, yeah. I mean,
I've never heard it in coverage all these years.
So this reminds me, and I don't really mirror MMA and football a lot, but this reminded me of when I was in camp. And Sean Strickland, people know a lot, very outspoken, very brash, a very polarizing figure in the world of MMA. One day we're at practice, and it felt a little like lackadaisical. We're drilling and everything, but like the energy wasn't there. And Sean pulled everybody aside and is like, bleep, bleep, bleep. I can't repeat anything that he really said. But at the end, he's like, and I watch you guys come in here through these doors, because I was one of the first ones in. He's like, I watch you guys come in here, and you all like look pissed off. You all look angry and upset. Why? You guys get paid to do this. That's what you want to do. So come in here with a smile on your face. If you're having fun, if you're happy, you will bring energy and you will work harder. And lo and behold, he was right. Like it was a good point. So then when I hear Doug Peterson kind of say this stuff, it begs the question of like, okay, well then are these guys not having fun? Is something I practice, and kind of alluding to your point, are they working too hard? Are they burnt out? Because if we're questioning a team's energy and what they bring at practice, then yeah, I'm under the belief system that they're not having fun. If you're having fun with anything, you'll bring energy. Yeah. Why? Because it's fun. That's the dopamine or whatever you want to call it, right? If you're not bringing the energy, then something's afoot in terms of how practice is going, how the coaching's being received, whatever the case may be. So if we're this is week 6 that was? 8. Yeah, that was week 7. If we're 7 weeks into the season and we're talking about, guys, keep the energy going. Let's go. Where's the energy? Well, you're not even halfway through the season yet. So don't tell me you're burnt out yet. Like, to me, then it's something else is afoot. And it's a little alarming, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's not a one-player thing, but I'm going to take – first of all, I want to address it before it goes away. I'm Tank Bigsby mic'd up, also on Jaguars.com, mic'd up what it looks like all the players are having fun of me. Well, here's the deal, man. Of course it is. They were winning a football game. We're talking about how do you get that and bring that to the table. And I would say there's a lot of things to this. This is what goes into Tank Bigsby, who's providing the energy and excitement by the look of his play. And in the mic'd up, he's actually more vocal than you probably would predict Bigsby to be. And also Ventrell Miller. This is why Ventrell Miller, who, by the way, we just booked for tomorrow night on Jaguars All Access.
There we go.
7 o'clock.
Bringing some attitude, Brent. Let's go.
So we're going to have some energy on the show tomorrow with Ventrell Miller.
I like that a lot.
But isn't that what we like right now about those two players? Because they're bringing it. Now, I'm going to go back to something else that I got kind of hammered for last year, and I think it was a little bit taken out of context. It was a little bit too deep for Twitter. What?
What of a passive aggressive thing to say though? A little too deep. Yeah, all right. Yeah, a little too deep for the idiots on Twitter. They couldn't understand it.
I think it was too deep for that platform.
Okay.
Right? Because it's really hard. If this was before, I could go more than 280 characters. Yeah. Now I could have really explained it.
Okay.
But I said this last year about this football team when they were failing down the stretch. And I said it actually when they did fail down the stretch at the end of the season, Monday locker room. I said, to me, this looked like a football team that was tired. They were fatigued. They had been chasing. This is a group of players that had been tasked with flipping the Urban Meyer disaster and everything else. And for 2 years, they had chased 3-7, and man, did they work their ass off to finish off 2022 and deliver what they did. That's draining. Yeah, they got an offseason to rest, but then they kind of kept it rolling, okay? But then they had to chase again. They had to chase getting healthy week after week in December, and we need one more win. We need one more win. We need one more play. We need somebody else to step up. We don't have our quarterback. We need all this stuff. They were just chasing and to me, that's a tiring mentality. That's a fatiguing mentality. I'm talking. This is a big picture thing, right? It's actually an underbelly thing that I thought was evident. I think Calvin Ridley was the guy at his locker that said something to the effect of, "Well, we're tired."
Yeah.
And again, it didn't come across well. I understand it, but and I wonder if there's a sense. I said this to Christian the other night on the show. How nice is it for these other young guys to step up? Because I think the Ingrams and the Kirks and the Trevors and everybody that have been around this thing trying to flip it have been tasked with a lot. And it is exhausting to be the guy that has to lead all the time, answer all the questions all the time, play well all the time. But now you've got some new juice in there that invigorates you a little bit, right? I'll give you an example of it. In my opinion, this is like a life example, maybe for your work and maybe for us, and maybe you saw this in your training, going out to Vegas. But for me, in our world, I think our world in this business and our business can get very stale. It can be stale. If you produce a new show, if you do what we do, it's fun as hell. Everybody wants to do the job that I'm doing.
Yes.
But I'm just telling you, if you do it for 20 years, it can get stale. And what we call that in our business is you get lazy. Get lazy in our business. You get lazy because you just do whatever. Well, the one thing that I've really said over the last few years, like I went from doing some radio stuff over on 1010 to doing our own thing on ESPN 690 to now doing this. And what it does is it naturally invigorates you. Like, heck yeah, it's a hell of a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it also it gives you new purpose. Like you're still doing the same thing. I'm on TV. We're covering the Jags. We're doing other stuff. But it gives you new life a little bit. It sends you learn new things, whether it's a sales side or whatever else. So, but you still would say, if I said that out loud, like, you'd be like, what the hell? You got the best job in the world, right? Like, you would say that.
Okay.
That I'm just telling you, I think those are real life things, and that happens to those guys too, whether they're paying $17 million a year or not.
Yeah, but see, to me, it's different though, because in what you're explaining in your line of work, you don't always have instant feedback of like if you're succeeding or not. Like in the game of football, you either win or you lose. Yeah. So when you win, you get the instant feedback. Okay, we're winning. This feels good. We're winning. This feels good. When you lose, yeah, it sucks. And I think like. See, when you say like you feel fatigued, I was on a 2-win team. Hell yeah, I felt fatigued. Not like really physically, like yeah, my body. I mean, your body's gonna be banged up, but I'm just like mentally, you're just like, man, here we go again, right? And that's why it is so important to try to nip those big losing streaks in the bud as soon as possible, because the more that you continue that, the worse that it gets.
It keeps weighing.
It keeps weighing. It keeps weighing, exactly. So. You know, if maybe that's going on here this season with Jacksonville, but the ultimate dopamine, the ultimate way to fix it is just to win. Like that's all you have to do, and that's what the focus needs to be on. So like, I'm not going to buy the product of okay, this team's wore out, this team's tired. Like maybe they're tired of losing, which good, you should be.
Yeah.
But then that's where you got to like almost bring more energy, bring more intensity, and say, all right, let's get back in the winning category again.
But I would say this, Hamby, this is what I think about it, and you know this, Austin. That's when you get 53 guys, it's hard. Because I'm not telling you that 30 of them aren't doing that or 40 of them aren't doing that. But then might be a handful of guys that are like, they don't feel that same way. Like that's just whatever it is, whatever that looks like. I don't know. And again, it's not the only reason. I just think there's been, and here's the thing. This is the positive side of what I saw. And beyond, like you heard it. I don't know if you guys even agree with what I said. I didn't even ask you that part of like, what did that catch your ears at all? Like what Doug said.
No, it definitely caught my ears. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's an interesting begging for people to be energetic and intense in a game that's damn intense.
But somebody in the chat said it sounds like a T-ball coach talking to his 6-year-olds.
But here's
that's a little extreme. Okay, that's a little dramatic, but I understand what they're saying. It wasn't that much. You had to really read into this a little bit more. But I mean, if Doug's feeling that's what he senses about his team. That you need more of that. You need more of that.
But see, to me, like then. You don't beg for it. Go out there and like get it. Like,
well, I'm sure he's saying the same thing you are, but he's the guy that's going to ask for it.
Yeah, but you're the guy that's establishing everything. Like, you're the tone setter here. You're the head coach. You control practice. You dictate what happens at practice. You dictate how intense the practice is. You dictate how the information gets across to your players. So if you're sitting there in the locker room saying, "Guys, we got to keep this going," like. Well, that's on you. Like you're essentially calling players out, but you're also calling yourself out at the same time.
Brent, this actually, if this is true, like if this is accurate, this actually would go in direct support of one of your points last week when we were talking. Maybe this is why this team is so streaky, because when it's good and you're winning, it's so easy to maintain. Because you got that good feeling. You don't have to beg for it, all these things. But when you're losing, maybe I don't know what, it's hard to quantify, but maybe we just have that kind of those kind of personalities in the locker room where it's that much worse when you're losing and that much harder to turn. That's not an excuse. That's a reason. No. As a hypothetical.
Hamby, this is a great, I didn't mean to cut you off, man. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'm done. Yeah, go ahead.
But no, it's a great point. And to echo what you're saying, I've said this many times about Doug Peterson. When you're the underdog, when people count against you, you succeed.
Yeah.
When you're the front runner, you have trouble. And I think what he's saying there is exactly what I've been echoing. It's, we expected them to beat the Patriots. Everybody did. But also, you're coming off a game against the Bears where you embarrassed yourself. So nobody really had a lot of faith. Like, yeah, we thought you could beat the Patriots, but it's like, well, can you really beat the Patriots, though? Because this team's not good right now. So, like, you really had no pressure on you. But then when you have the pressure to try to win a division, to try to go on a playoff run, you seem to fold a little bit. But when you don't have when you don't have like the pressure of, okay, guys, it's like a 3-4 game winning streak, let's keep it, like, no, there's nothing like that at all. So I think there is something to be said for that.
Yeah, but I think actually what we're talking about, this is the mystery of this team. I think what Hamby just said is different than what you just said.
Yeah.
And we've seen both, and you're not wrong. Because we go back to 22, and what I was about to say, if Austen didn't talk, which is fine that he talked, but if he didn't talk, I was about to say, hey, Hamby, but I've got 22 on my mind when they were 3-7, and they were able to pull themselves out of it and go on a run.
Maybe it just takes longer, though.
And then they hit. But then I would go, Austen, you're right. They got to 8-3, and they didn't know what the hell to do. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's like, is there a it's an interesting barrier, right? They don't always work well against adversity and are resilient, and they don't always work well with feeling good.
It's easier to motivate men when you're behind the 8 ball.
I would think so.
It's harder to motivate men, I feel like, and not everyone's different, but it's harder to motivate men when you're supposed to be the front runner, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's human nature. Yeah. You get complacent. And see, okay, so I'll go there in a second.
But this is where coaching comes in. Does it not?
I do. Here's what I would push back on you about. Okay? It's going to actually tie into a thought I just had from this conversation, but I would push back on, so what's Doug supposed to do if his team is not responding to what you said? It's easier to
deliver the message a certain way.
So he's just going to deliver it differently?
A different way.
Okay.
And maybe that's asking you to change your coaching style, and maybe he's not capable of that.
Okay.
But if we're questioning motivation, if we're questioning energy, if we're questioning the intensity, then that's on you as a head coach, because once again, maybe you don't have the players right now to help reciprocate that. Then it's on you as a head coach to get that message across a different way.
Yeah, and that's a good point. That's what I was going to say. See, I think maybe the fatigue comes from Doug has had to do this multiple times in his 3 years. Pull them off the mat, 3-7. Hey, guys, we need one more win. It's okay. Everybody's hurt in December. We need to go get one more win. Okay. No, we're 1-5. We got to do it again. We got to come off the... Well, maybe the message that's happened 3 times for a core of these guys is like, phew, okay, we've heard this before.
Yeah.
Right? That's what maybe the fatigue is. It's not physical fatigue or mental fatigue. But it's a fatigued message that Doug is trying to grab from these guys. And it's like, to your point, maybe he's got to find a different way to do it. To my point, when Doug got mad at the question in Houston, this was my point. It doesn't matter that press is calling plays and the plays are there and your quarterback isn't hitting them. You need a different voice. Maybe you need a different voice. My question could have simply been asked, do you go to Episcopal and practice instead of being at the Mech? Not because it's nice at the Mech, just because it's a change of scenery. Do you practice at 3 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock? Because it jumpstarts something in a different way. And I think that's what you're saying. Does Doug need to deliver something a little bit differently to get some enthusiasm out of this group? Does he need more ice cream? Does he need a trip to the movies?
Yeah.
Does he need? That's why guys do this stuff in the coaching profession.
So here's why I think that he needs to change it up a little bit, and this is why I've always said on this show that your coach is a direct reflection of who your team is. Because when we talk about the offseason and we go back to the whole play calling thing, it was jokes. It was being coy. It was being candid. Yeah, we'll see who's calling the plays. Because you thought everything was sweet, right? Because you thought you knew how it was going to go. And I was like, who cares? Like, we'll just have some fun with it. And I think that, like, not that circumstance, but I think that kind of attitude and that demeanor washed off on the team. And then when you started losing, didn't have any answers, what did we see from Doug Peterson? We saw a guy in press conferences who was all over the place, who was discombobulated. Well, that may have echoed out to the locker room as well. So I think like what we see with Doug Peterson at press conferences is what we get with the players in that locker room. And listen, like we can say a lot of things. I'm not trying to like hate on Doug Peterson all the time. I know sometimes it seems like that. I just, I think like things have to change a little bit.
Yeah, well,
like,
he's in charge of it.
Yeah, and you're in charge of it. You're
I think
the
it's
CEO.
hard. I think he's in a hard spot, Austin. I think that's why you see the body language.
Well,
it's like,
dude,
what?
I mean, okay, but this is what you signed up for. You're a head coach.
No, I'm not saying he can't handle it.
Yeah.
I think it's frustrating as a coach when you've tried these different methods and you can't seem to get what you want out of the group.
Okay.
Right? That doesn't mean you lost them. It just means, man, I'm trying these different things and I'm not getting even stuff that I've tried before that has worked is now not getting the same response out of most of this collection of group. I think that's where his frustration, his body language, and I get that. That's human nature too.
But if that's your body language at a press conference, if you're just sitting, man, I don't know, we have to look ourselves in the mirror and everything, like that's going to trickle down to your players. And then all of a sudden you don't know and the players don't know. And then you just have this giant discombobulation. I've said discombobulation way too many times today. I haven't said discombobulation in 10 years. I've said it like 25 times today. But that's what it is. So once again, like if you have a team that looks fatigued or is feeling fatigued or is lacking energy, then you got to look at yourself and say, well, then I got to bring the energy.
Yeah.
But this is all sports psychology, honestly. But it goes back to at the professional level, how much is it even up to coaches to motivate grown men with families? And that's a Austin question more than anything. Mm-hmm. But it's like even at my 15U now baseball team, there's times where it's like it's not up to me to motivate. Like it's got to be self-motivation at this point, and that's exponential when you have grown men who are getting paid for this with families and kids and wives and everything.
Yes.
How much is it up to a head coach to motivate them to go play hard or to get over this little stumbling block or get over this little fatigue or anything like that? Like you're a grown bleeping man.
Listen, like everyone's self-motivated. We're talking about millions of dollars at stake here, right? For most players.
Right.
So so self-motivation is definitely like every player's got to be self-motivated. You're a grown-ass man, represent yourself, represent your family. I get all of that. But it's also about the environment, right? Where if you don't have the environment to cultivate that self-motivation, then all of a sudden you have players, because I've seen this a couple of times, Chicago being the biggest one. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the environment to cultivate that self-motivation, then you start to ask questions like, well, I've been on other teams. I've seen it work, and I've seen what it's supposed to look like. It does not look like that here, right? The coaching, whatever, the play, whatever the case may be. There's a lot of things that go into it. But then if you start questioning things, it's not necessarily like a lack of self-motivation. It's more of just questioning, not buying in.
Yeah, the buy-in.
Mm-hmm. And that's maybe, I mean, once again, I'm not speaking on this team right now if that's what's going on or not, but that could be a possibility.
Okay, this will be my Bold City Heating and Air bold take right here to sum up this conversation and get your thoughts too. BoldCityAC.com, by the way, 904-966-4405. Prepare your home for the holidays. This is why I think Tank Bigsby and Ventrell Miller and what they've done, and Brian Thomas Jr., But what these guys have done over the last couple of weeks, Brian Thomas really the entire season, is so important. This kind of brings me full circle to this, where this is some new juice. This is something different. This isn't Evan Ingram catching 10 passes, or Christian Kirk making a play, or Trevor making a play, or Andre Sisco an interception, Josh Hines Allen a sack. This is new guys bringing the juice, different guys. It's actually what they were hoping for with Armstead and Darby and Duvernay and Gabe Davis. And they're not getting that from that group that they did bring in to invigorate. Remember, it's a player-led room. This was supposed to be year 3. Player-led is huge in the NFL.
Yep.
So the guys that they brought in to help take it to a new juice level, if you will, can't because they're not playing well. But now they got it. Will they be able to build off it? Will these guys be able to carry it? The problem with young guys doing that, Austin, is inconsistency often takes shape. But can they be the one that jump-started this thing? Can they be the one that charged the battery to now get it rolling? And if they do, and Trevor's a big part of this because you got to play well, but if they do, I think we're going to look back to saying Tank Bigsby and Ventrell Miller and Brian Thomas Jr. are the ones that started this and got the fire going a little bit more.
And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's too bad it took that.
I guess,
You ain't going to eat something out of the fridge without warming it up.
But the part of the problem here is Armstead. Like, listen, guys.
You going to bypass that?
Yeah. Guys like
apples?
That was fire from Tank Bigsby. That's what he said, mic'd up.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Okay.
But Armstead and guys like that were supposed to do that from week 1, I thought. And they weren't, and you can't do it when you don't get good play. And the Deweys of the world are hurt. This goes back to last week's conversation a little bit. That you need where you thought you would find it, you couldn't find it because of play or injuries or whatever. And now you found it in a different way. And Parker Washington, by the way, provided it.
Yeah.
So, like, I have no idea if there's carryover. I'm just saying we could come back to the point where the stuff that Doug's been looking for actually came in the form of young players in an unexpected, probably, way.
Yeah, and I think it's a good and bad thing. I think it's good for the future. You like what you see, but I think it's also a bad thing because that's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to rely on a couple rookies here, a second-year guy, receiver, or whatever here to provide the energy. You're supposed to have your veterans, your core, if you will, provide that energy because they're supposed to know how it's done. And I feel like right now no one really knows how they're supposed to do it.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is this is a very hard thing to do in the National Football League is to build a good roster. But there's more to it than building a good roster. There's a makeup of the roster. There's a recipe of the roster. Or you put it in that microwave, Amby, or take it out of the fridge. That is hard to do. Like, it's a really tough thing to do. And especially when you haven't done it, where there's a culture already there of doing it. So you're trying to build that in the same time. If they do figure it out and you go 3-4 years down the road, like Kansas City doesn't have to find for this. They don't have to search for this. They've got it. It's there in Lombardi trophies now over the last handful of years.
And people want to say Reed was, and yes, Reed's obviously the best coach in the NFL right now, and you want to give all the credit in the world that he turned the Kansas City thing around. They had the first pick of the draft, for crying out loud. But at the same time, even though they had the first pick of the draft, and I've said this many times on the show, they had the players ready to be leaders.
Yeah.
There were so many great players with great mindsets that if you just had the right coach that could bring it out of them, that was there. I'm not sure if that's in Jacksonville right now.
Yeah, I think it's curiosity. I think Doug's begging for it, and he got it. Now we'll see if he can get it for 2 weeks in a row. Like, that's the next thing. They couldn't do it. They haven't done it for 2 weeks in a row since last November. 2 weeks in a row. Not done since last November. We'll see if they can do it this week against a very good Packers team. That's your Bold City Heating and Air Bold Take, boldcityac.com, 904-966-4405. Ensure your heating system is in top shape before the cold sets in here for the holidays. With Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, make sure you're in good shape. 24/7, fast and reliable, Jacksonville grown, family owned, and operated. We'll be back on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who is coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. boldcityac.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
Building off a summer of terrific action at Southern Oaks Stadium, the Jacksonville Armada are looking forward to the future and the return of pro soccer in Northeast Florida. Season ticket reservations for MLS Next Pro are underway, and for just $100, you can lock in some great benefits when it comes to supporting the boys in blue. Those who make a reservation will have first selection options in the new Armada Stadium out east, near Jacksonville's downtown sporting complex, as well as access to supporter VIP events like stadium tours, open training sessions, and future meet and greets with players and coaches. You can make your season ticket reservations at jacksonvillearmada.com/ticket, and while you're there, read the very latest on the Armada men's and women's teams in action this summer. Show your commitment to the fleet with an MLS Next Pro season ticket reservation at jacksonvillearmada.com/ticket.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jax team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
The best stories sometimes come after the game. Join us for in-depth conversations with local coaches Tuesdays and Fridays at 2 p.m., including our latest guest on the program.
So I had a parent meeting year 2 and told the parents, look, I know there's 15 of us. There'll be more that will come. The younger ones will come up and they'll be fine. And, we'll win state championships. And when I tell you they laughed at me to the point of tears, I'm not exaggerating.
Catch up on the chats you missed by watching the After the Game playlist on our Action Sports Jax YouTube page. When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back here to the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network studios. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, Jason Hamby. Oh, man. Now I'm tired after that conversation on the couch. But I like that stuff. Hey, I teased this. I want to get to it, and we'll just do it quick because then there's some NBA stuff and get off the Jags for a little bit. But before I forget it.
Are you snoring at the NBA stuff or are you snoring at Brent teasing stuff?
No, NBA.
Come on, Hamby.
Hates the NBA.
He
hates the NBA.
I'm aware, but I'm saying you better get on board here.
Yeah.
Season's starting up, so.
The NBA's a big deal.
Yeah, man.
Celtics hit like 440 3-pointers last night. So anyway, the two plays I wanted to ask you about.
Yes.
Well, one I want to just tell you. I'd asked Christian on Monday Night Jags Report Live about the play in the end zone that was real close to getting down.
Yeah.
And he said, I think we eventually got to the point where that was a play that they ran in 2022 against the Chiefs for a touchdown. And in my mind, I'm like, why the hell does it take 2 years to come back to the play?
Yeah, for real.
You know what I mean? Isn't that a funny thing? I get tendencies and stuff, but if you used it 2 years ago, it's okay to...
Well, yeah. See, if I was a coach, I'd be like Madden. Like, if a blitz worked for me and I get a quarterback sack, guess what? We're on the blitz 25 times in a row after that.
I would too. Like I said this again about the Brian Thomas play against Indianapolis. Like they used it once, and then I don't think they came back to it. They might have, and it just didn't show itself. So from my novice eye, like they didn't use it again. Yeah. But I'm like, well, why wouldn't you try it again? Like you had to win that game. Who cares about the tendency 3 weeks later or whatever
back to
else?
The well, please.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and then the other one was the Josh Hines Allen one. I think we talked about a little Monday too, and I thought the footing, whatever else. But then you go back and look at that play. Yeah. He's on the right end. He has to come all the way across the field to get JaMychal Hasty on the touchdown. And then JaMychal Hasty's going to win one-on-one against him no matter what. Like I didn't understand all the criticism for Josh Hines Allen on that play. And then also Trayvon Walker admits in the postgame, he's like, I screwed that up.
Okay.
So, do you think was he supposed to drop out? Because they were bringing a blitz with others.
So I can't remember, and I have to watch the play wholeheartedly. Did they motion? They probably didn't because they had trips on one side. They didn't motion Hasty on the other side, right? Because you're not going to have trips and then the running back on the same side. Okay, so then if that's the case, was it in the middle of the field?
No, he caught the ball on the right side.
Well, I'm saying, where's I know that, but where's the ball lined up?
Right hash.
Right hash. Okay. So then what I think might have happened is that it might have been like a boundary call. So basically what I'm saying here is, long story short, that they had the play thinking that it was going to be reversed. Oh, Hamby! Totally redeemed himself today from a rough start early this morning. So, no, I'm kidding.
Rough start early this morning.
No, when we had like some audio problems or something with Brent's microphone? A little quiet?
Hey, we're making stuff up. It's okay.
No, I'm saying in the chat. Someone said that you were quieter than I was.
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
I had to talk up.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, bring some more energy, Brent. Come on. Step your game up.
I'm fatigued.
Bring some more energy. Yeah, so I think here what you saw is that Trayvon Walker should have took the back. The back here. Yeah, so they should have all. I mean, I don't know if there's like a call, like an audible out of this. Usually, like back when I was doing this, where if we see, okay, I'm on the boundary side, meaning that if I'm Trayvon Walker right now, I see I'm closer to the sideline, so there's not a lot of space for the running back to go. Yeah, then I'll take him. And then Josh, you go ahead and pass rush because we don't need you to come from all across the field to take the running back. So I think it should have been more of like a me call, and Trayvon Walker saying, I got this guy.
So yeah, and I don't know if Josh was trying to make up for Walker. Because he ends up going from the right side all the way to where the numbers are.
There's no making up for it. Like, they both knew what was it.
They probably should have dropped, right? We're dropping.
I think so, or once again, they should have switched it off. I think one guy was supposed to blitz the entire time.
Oh, okay.
But I think what should have happened was Trayvon should have said me, and then Josh should have.
I'm going to ask Trayvon.
Because there's no way that Josh on the right side is supposed to have the left boundary.
Yeah, look at where Josh is right in the middle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He
so
ends
like
up getting hasty there.
So I think this call wasn't based off of like the formation. This call was based off of where the ball was on the field.
Yeah, I see.
And then Trayvon should have saw that and said, hey, I have a running back to my side. I'm taking him as opposed.
Yeah, I got you. So it would have been more pre-snap.
Yeah, because, I mean, and listen, I don't have all the details in front of me, but can we go back to the first slide again?
Today.
Yeah, please do.
Like he's on the far right.
Here's what I would assume. I would assume that the New England Patriots probably showed a tendency of when you have a tight bunch like this, that they actually would have had the tight bunch to the boundary side. So I bet Nielsen saw the personnel. Okay, we have 13 personnel. Going to be probably a tight bunch, getting close to the red zone. Let's go ahead and call this play because we're expecting the trips to be on, the Jaguars' left side of the field and the running back to be on the Jaguars' right side of the field. Well, it's mirrored. It's flipped. And I think that's what happened here where Trayvon should have saw that and said, hey, running back to my side, let me take him, switch it around. Didn't have enough time. 4 seconds left in the play. They snap it. Boom.
Gotcha. Interesting. It also goes because I asked about the 3rd and 5 play a little bit. I've been asking around because early in the game for the Jags offense, remember everybody got pissed off about the play. Me too. I was like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
And I was telling you guys in the break, but basically what I learned is like that was just a better call on defense by the Patriots.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
you said this before. Like that happens. We don't want to admit that.
No,
but the chess match, they brought one more guy than everybody thought they were going to bring. Therefore, they had to dump it over, and then they made the tackle on, I think it was Ernest Johnson on the play. So they end up, sometimes the defense wins. We're like, what the hell was the play call? That's why I like to get a little more perspective on it, even though in real time I was saying the same thing.
Well,
they got everybody. They got more guys coming than you got to block them. You got to get rid of the football.
Well, and so what I wonder though is see, this is what doesn't get told. And I'm not telling you that this happened on this play, Austin. But Trevor, does he see it enough? Does he see it in time to be able to bring more protection in? Or can he do more on this play? Or are you just going to lose this play regardless?
I mean, I feel like if you're experienced, you could see it. But here's the thing, though. Hamby, do you have the first slide again with the Jaguars real quick?
Which
Can
one?
you just kind of go back to the Jaguars one on defense?
Yes.
So I can show something. Okay. Because I've watched the Jaguars play on defense like a million times. So I'm saying from the line of scrimmage.
Set,
yeah. No, you're good, man. I know I'm asking a lot of you right now. Here you go. 4th quarter and Hamby delivers. So right here, you're not showing blitz.
No.
Like you're trying to disguise it. Right? And I've seen, like I said, I've watched this play a lot. And who's behind, I can't tell who that guy is with
Antonio Johnson.
The white towel with the
I think it might be Antonio Johnson.
Okay, so I've watched this a million times. Like if Antonio Johnson may have been on the line of scrimmage, he may have got there, right? But I think the whole point of this play right here is you're trying to disguise it. You're not trying to sell anything. So there's not much you could have done here, just because once again it was a perfect play and they haven't had the running back out. Like if the running back stays in, might have been a sack.
Yeah.
But he goes out in a wheel route. Drake May does a great job as a rookie to see it. Boom.
The question is, if Trayvon does pick the running back up, does he just dirt it?
I mean, I think if Trayvon picks the running back up, I'm not sure if there's an option play here. If Trayvon's on the running back, maybe he does a wheel route and Trayvon still gets. We don't know.
Yeah,
man,
good point,
So,
good point.
but okay, now go back to the Patriots slide, please, where they're on defense.
Yeah, this is going back to the first drive of the game for the Jags, 3rd and 6.
So this is the difference.
Throw it to Ernest Johnson in the backfield. And just to set this up again, I was digging more into that play. Like, okay, why would you do that?
Yeah.
And it was basically because they didn't have enough guys to block, so that's the hot route.
Can we get the pre-snap though, Hamby?
Yeah, because I'm trying to show they had 7 guys walked up on line of scrimmage, but they actually dropped 2 of the ends.
And this is what I was trying to show with the Patriots MO. This is how they disguise things, because the Patriots are always on the line of scrimmage. They're always trying to confuse you, and then they'll drop guys back into coverage, as opposed to Ryan Nielsen, where it's a little more of just a traditional base defense, where their disguise comes from blitzing guys from the normal spots.
Yeah.
See, this is normal right here for the New England Patriots.
To have all these guys up.
Who's coming? We don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to say.
So anyway, I think what we never want to admit, from a media standpoint, a real-time standpoint, while things are going bad, is sometimes the defense wins.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes you don't see it as a player. Sometimes you make the mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this one looked to me like, what the hell was this play call? And I think it's fair for us to say this wasn't about the play call. This was either about the defense won because their chess match was better, or maybe Trevor didn't see what he was supposed to see. It's one of the two things.
Yeah.
Most likely, more than the play call in this instance. Like, did Trevor have to get it to this that quickly? Well, if you showed the other screen, it didn't look like it.
Correct. The only thing I will say about this play, Brent, is it was obviously a designed pass to the running back, right? And when it's 3rd and 6, you'd want to see maybe more progression, right? Like, okay, like, and again, like Trevor can't tell. Like,
But I'm saying I don't think it is a design pass to the running back.
Oh, you don't think so?
No, I think it was a hot route to the running back, and
Okay.
he thought that they weren't going to be able to pick it up.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like okay, I got you. But my point is,
you're
like,
saying
design.
to be the hot route should be to somebody else.
Correct. Yeah, like the guy coming across the screen up the top.
Looks like Gabe.
Yeah. Okay. Again, I don't know if that's Trevor or Brett or that. See, that's hard. They're not going to throw him under the bus.
No,
and that's when you're a play caller, you're taking all the heat.
We're never going to know.
And by the way, I think there's plenty of times for press and the play caller to take heat. I'm just not sure this play was as much as I did and everybody else did. Which is, I think that's the fun of looking back on it. There's a lot going into this stuff.
If I could say one hypothetical, of all of these 7 guys lined up on the line of scrimmage, walked up, if I'm Trevor, I'm going to guess that the guy at the Patriots defender at the very top is the most likely to drop into coverage.
Yeah, and take Gabe.
Take
whoever.
Gabe.
Gabe
So if I have
but
the running back going to the left,
I don't think that's Gabe, by the way.
I
think Gabe's down at the bottom, isn't he? Or is that
that
Ingram?
is. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, Gabe is in the slot in the middle.
Yeah.
Next to Kirk.
So that's Ingram then?
That's got to be Ingram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's fair, but at the same time, they could blitz that guy and then bring the safety down.
Because
you know what I mean? Like,
I'm almost positive there's a Patriot at the very top that's out of the picture. Because as of right here, we have 10 Patriots on the screen.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm going to ask. I'm going to dig in a little bit. But I
away.
like doing it. I just like figuring out there's more to it. And I get that. We always say that. This is why I always say this a lot about like the secondary. Like you have no idea which guy's supposed to switch off. Who got beat? Was it the safety? Was it like I still think Darnell Savage on the touchdown. I'm like, what the hell was he doing? He looked like he was defending the goalpost on a 3rd and 15 play, but it could have easily have been somebody who was supposed to drop back and cover that middle territory.
yeah.
Like that's another one where I was just like, I try not to go after the players and so much in real time too, because you might be unfair to whoever's responsibility it is.
Yeah.
There's so much going on. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Doesn't make it all better in real time when everybody's poking fun at it. All right, hey, before we get out, NBA last night.
I was watching
2 games.
Yeah,
obviously
2
a little
games.
history with Bronny and before Bronny and LeBron. The commercial was good.
Commercial was great. Yeah.
That was good stuff. I like that. Nice job by Nike.
Not gonna lie, I didn't really watch a lot of the Celtics game. Could care less.
I didn't watch either one.
Okay. Listen, I've been very critical of Bronny, right? Like, obviously, you drafted him probably where you shouldn't have drafted, all this kind of stuff, right? But at the end of the day, watching them on the bench talk to each other, and me being a father myself, and then watching them enter the game together, and just that moment, like, I don't know why it hit me so. Maybe because I spent like the whole weekend with my son doing homework after a fight, which I didn't want to do. Really developing that bonding time. But it was a really cool moment that I'm glad I got to see live. And like once again, like I like LeBron James now. Team Jordan and everything. I've been very critical of LeBron James lately, but like that moment right there was a really, really cool moment.
I agree with you, man. I
was
think
awesome.
There's something cool. I'm a big fan of LeBron.
Yeah.
Overall basketball. You can take all the other stuff. Like I'm not worried. I don't get involved with that. I just think LeBron has been. We can try to pick athletes apart. We do it all the time. When you're that kind of star, he is unbelievable in many respects. And you don't have to like him. You probably wouldn't agree with me saying that. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But I think who he's been as an athlete has been really a model superstar athlete in so many ways. And he's delivered on the hype too for 20-something years. But what I think is kind of cool is he has such a feel for time and space, not just on the court, but in these kind of moments. And I think he understood the assignment in a sense, right? Like he understands he's the old guy right now. Mm-hmm. Like the commercial, but even that moment, he understands what this is. It's how important it is to him, but what it kind of means for the league and the Lakers and other things, and what it means probably for his son. I think he's done a good job at the feel of that. And he's like a good old guy. Like he's gray, he's bald, like he can still play.
Yeah.
But he almost feels like at times he he looks and feels like that the wisdom of a grandfather. He's so well beyond his years, is my point.
No, for sure. I just think that, it's almost like the giant payoff. It's almost like watching a TV drama for 25, 30 years, and then waiting for the season finale, and it finally pays off. Like that this is what you were waiting for. And like, listen, I remember being a huge, I had the LeBron James jersey when he first came out, and I had the ESPN poster in my room where he's, chewing the bubble gum and, a king waits. It's like, I remember when he first burst onto the scene, and then we fast forward all these years later, and it's almost like this moment transcended sports, because it's one thing to be LeBron James. Imagine being LeBron James' son.
Yeah.
Like, that's not easy. Like, when we see this all the time with like pro athletes, like sometimes pro athletes have kids, and guess what? Their kids don't live up to the name.
Hard.
Ask Michael Jordan about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, and by the way, his name's Bronny.
No
like,
pressure,
Dad, you couldn't name me like Bronny? Should have named my son Austin. You know what I'm saying? Put even more pressure on him. Go grab it, son. But like, to just see him in that moment, man, and it's fun because like LeBron is such a specimen.
I know it.
And his son really isn't. Like, he's not. And he looks like a kid, you know, next to his dad. It was cool, man.
I think so too. I agree. It's interesting that it hit you that way.
It hit me so hard.
I didn't see it live. I saw it today.
Yeah.
And I would agree with you, man. I think the whole thing is easy to the nepotism and all that stuff to pick apart. It is. It's easy to do that. But I think in real time, it was a cool moment. I think the commercial stuff was appropriate. I think that was a good moment. Again, I think LeBron's cool, man. I really do. And you know what? He's given so much to the game. If he gets this and other people don't, and Bronny's not really good enough to be, but it worked out this time, so what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what? Not every guy's walking in the league and gonna kind of extend it another year and get the Lakers to pick him.
Yeah.
But he's got that kind of control because he's meant a lot to the league.
Yeah.
And if the two things you're going to criticize LeBron about are the promise or the decision, decision and this, that dude's lived a pretty damn good athletic superstar life, in my opinion.
And listen, I know we all feel a certain type of way, to echo Adam's point here. LeBron holding the Lakers hostage to draft his son who stinks so he can have a vanity moment, playing time, very admirable. Okay, well, who'd you want him to get then? Did you want him to get Kevin McCullier Jr.? Because that was the next pick.
Is that who?
And what is Kevin McCullier Jr. doing in the second round? Pick number 56. Anything? Do we know who he is? You heard of him, Brent? I hadn't until I just Googled it.
Yeah.
Adam, you know who Kevin McCullier Jr. is? Because, I guess they could have had him. It's the second round of NBA draft. Who cares?
Yeah, listen, I get the whole sentiment, and I think it's a fair sentiment. You're taking somebody else's spot, could this, that. Keep in mind, the second round of the NBA draft is the seventh round of the NFL draft. That's what it is.
Yep.
And again, I mean, if Peyton Manning wanted to do this at some point, or Tom Brady would have been more likelihood because he played for so long until he's 45, and they want to draft his son, would people say it's cool? Would people hammer it? Probably. But it's very few opportunities to do something like it. They did it. And I thought it played off better. I agree with you. I thought it played off better yesterday than maybe I felt like it would.
Now, if Kevin McCullier Jr. becomes the MVP this year on the Knicks.
Well, they have opened their door for that. That's an impressive showing for the Lakers right off the rip with Redick and everything else.
Yep.
And Anthony Davis was terrific.
Yeah, yep. You still got to, and as far as the Knicks are concerned, a lot of hype with them too. Playing Boston. They got to figure it takes time to gel.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of 82. I was like, who cares, really?
Yeah, you can go 0-10. It's like, you guys will figure it out.
It is impressive. Even the Celtics come out like that, though. Because, you can kind of sleep through the first little bit.
Good,
you're going to be good.
They're just so deep.
But they kind of just showed, we're that good.
I mean, I don't know if there's
29 3-pointers or something?
Something like that. I don't know if there's any other team, including my team, the Milwaukee Bucks, where I can name like every single player. Like they're starting like 5.
Yeah.
I can probably name it on the Celtics. They're that good.
Hey, let me tell you about Nimnick Buick GMC. Is nobody but Nimnick. It's time for Bravo Days, Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified sales event at Nimnick Buick GMC. 1.9% APR rates that low, or $500 in down payment assistance. And then there are the trucks. There's the truck, GMC Sierra, with available features like the connected driving experience and the world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. It's the truck that I have, GMC 1500s. They are $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500s, or rates as low as 0.0% right now. Who's got more new GMCs at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnicht GMC. We are professional grade. Hey, just a reminder, I just mentioned during the show, Ventrell Miller will be at Jaguars All Access with us tomorrow night. That's at String Sports Brewery. Jags Social will take place as well right after that show on Fox 30. Moved up from Friday because the World Series is on Fox 30, and we've got all our programming the rest of the weekend, too. We'll be down in the Jags locker room today as catching up with some of the Jags as they get ready for the Green Bay Packers, and we'll continue to see the Jags get a little bit healthier and healthier. This is a huge football game on so many levels for the Jags, but I think the way, everything that I just said to start the show, to bookend this thing, it's like, okay, what are you hanging your hat on? How good can you feel? There are still issues with this team. If they beat the Packers, Austin, how it feels and what we're talking about, and a little bit of that hope flickers because they're getting healthier and they've got themselves a good win. That's how big this one is.
It's everything, say week in, week out. Biggest game of the season. Well, this can set your team on a trajectory to regain, or it can be who we thought you were.
Well, and the flip side of it is the calls keep coming. Not just for trade candidates, but also it impacts your roster, and it impacts the noise again for Doug and Trent and everybody else. You hide some of that for another week, you feel pretty good. Again, you said it. It's a week-to-week league. A lot of these things get formed. But where the Jaguars are at right now, this football game in Week 8 will set like the narratives Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in a sprinkling of ways, like in a 180 kind of direction of where you can take this thing. Check us out, CBS 47, Fox 30, later tonight on the TV side, and the entire Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. We got the Stripe Show podcast coming up at 2 o'clock today as well, and then Young and Norvell at 4. Looks like a beautiful day in Jacksonville. Enjoy it, everybody.